Welcome to the next Youth Development Challenge and welcome to Australia. Obviously, you know the team that we are going to be in charge of for this 10-season challenge. I, however, at this point, do not. We are going to be managing in the Isuzu UTE A-League in Australia, and what we're going to do is we're going to go on holiday forward 2 seasons, I believe, into the future, and we will take over the worst performing team of that season with the objective to, first of all, get them basically to the top of the A-League, but also I'd love to win the Asian Champions League because we're in the Asian kind of area of the world. I nearly said of Europe, of the world, but also I'd love to win the Club World Cup. I think that one might be a bit of a stretch. So then, without further ado, let's jump forward 2 seasons into the future and see who we take charge of. So it's the 18th of June 2025 and we have taken control of Brisbane Roar. Obviously you knew this from looking at the thumbnail, but we have taken over them after 2 seasons because basically they have been absolutely garbage. The last season they finished on just 11 points. If you tripled their points, they'd be second bottom or third bottom even. So they have been absolutely shocking. Just 1 win all season in the 26 games. Going back to the first season, they actually weren't too bad. They finished on 34 points. A massive, massive drop-off over the summer. I'm not quite sure why. So before we go too much further into this save, I want to try and explain to you what a youth development challenge is. And that is basically we are going to force play at least 1 youth player from our youth intakes every single season. So in season 1, in theory, we will not be playing anybody. However, because we are 2 years into the future, we will have to play 1 youth player who has come through the Brisbane Roar youth intakes in the last 2 seasons. In season 2, it'll be 2 players. In season 3, it'll be 3. In season 4, it'll be 4. And in season 5 and onwards, it will be 5 youth players who have come through the youth intake of Brisbane Roar. We do have money to spend, although we don't have a lot of money because we're Brisbane Roar. We are allowed to spend this. There is no real limit on what I'm able to buy and bring into the club. All I need to do is make sure that I am playing youth players that have been coming through the youth intakes of Brisbane Roar. That is the main objective of this save. What I will probably do, though, is I will make sure that I won't be buying too many old players. Max Burgess, for example, is 30 years of age. Probably doesn't really fit in with the kind of the keeping of this style of save. So what I might try and do is just stick to players under, let's say, 24 years of age as well, joining the club. And the last thing to mention is Australia has some strange rules. And by strange, they're not that strange, but they do have a salary cap, which means we can't bring in too many players who basically exceed that salary cap. They have rules about scholarship players, I believe, which are players who are under maybe 25 years of age, who aren't on full-time contracts or something. There's lots of weird things that will inevitably make me slip up and I'll do some stupid things. We get the opportunity to sign 2 designated players, which can be basically earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. That's not a problem. Obviously, we need to have the money to be able to spend. We're only allowed 5 foreign players as well. There is also a thing called a guest player. I have no idea what a guest player is, and I feel like I never will. Because it is Season 3 technically in-game, there has been some youth intakes that have come through, and we have picked our first player that will be locked in for the season. It is 17 years old Australian striker Jack Mason. He came through actually last season, I believe, maybe even the season before, and played reasonably well for the NPL side, which is Brisbane Roar FC NPL, whoever they are. I think it's like the B team. But Jack Mason will be our leading striker in a formation with 1 striker. He's got a lot to do, but he is currently a 2-star current ability player, so that's quite nice. Just looking at the squad as well, there is 1 player in here who technically does fit the bill, but we're not going to include him. Andrea Calcagno did come through the Brisbane Roar youth intakes, but he is so clearly by far and away one of our best players. I feel like it's cheating if I force play Calcagno because he was going to be getting game time anyway because he played 46 times over the last 2 seasons. He is also 20 years of age, which means, another rule that I completely forgot to mention, once a player is 22 years of age at the start of the season, so 18th of January roughly, we are not allowed to pick them for that season. We have to replace them with somebody younger. So Calcagno has probably only got 2 seasons left of being able to actually be picked anyway. And I think playing Mason might be a better use of our kind of 1 player that we have to play this season. So with that out of the way then, let's jump forward to the end of the opening transfer window. We will probably do a bit of business. I'll have a quick look at the squad in a bit more detail as well. But yeah, let's jump forward and see what we do. So 5 players have joined the club, and I've kind of realised why they did so badly last season. Their number 1 goalkeeper was absolutely garbage, because I brought in Ilya Shalamanov Trenkov, which could be his name. I think he's part Bulgarian, on a free transfer after he got released from Melbourne City FC, and he is our best goalkeeper, and he's absolutely junk. So we've got Trenkov. He'll be our number 1 for the season. It's not particularly encouraging, however. Something that is a bit more encouraging is Nicholas Pennington. I did say that I wouldn't sign too many older players right now in Season 1. We just need better players. If I don't sign any better players, this is going to be a much, much harder challenge to do. So Pennington has come in. He is 26 years of age. Coming on a free transfer from Perth Glory. A very good player. Probably walks straight into our starting 11. Aaron Anderson has also joined on a free transfer. Technically, he's 24, so he's fine to join the club, and he's just about to turn 25. We'll ignore that. He's a central defender, come in as a bit of a rotation. I brought in a bunch of players basically to try and fill up the squad, because our squad was absolutely tiny. We've also brought in 2 foreign players because we didn't actually have any in the club. Samad Kadiri is the first up. Once again, he is on the older side at the age of 30, but he has joined on a free transfer. A Nigerian international, technically with 1 cap to his name. We needed a little bit more bite in our attacking players. Kadiri certainly gives us a bit of that. And hopefully Emiliano Lawrence will give us a bit of that as well, formerly of Everton and Manchester City, signed on a free transfer. The Scottish under-21 international has joined, but is unlikely. I don't think he's going to be getting a huge amount of game time because he's a backup in every single one of the attacking midfield positions. And as we know, Jack Mason will be leading the line, so he won't be playing there either. So looking at our squad now, it is much, much bigger. It is the 10th of September. We have got ourselves a lot more players. If I just show you, I think Nick Suman might have been our number 1 goalkeeper last season. He's not horrendous, but he's not very good. We've also got Matthew Acton, who, again, he's not horrendous, but he's also not very good either. So Trenkov will be our number 1 for the season without a doubt. We've got a few options in right back. We are going to spend a few seasons just trying to get rid of some of the fringe players, the players like Hingert here, who he's just not good enough for us. He's getting paid too much money. We don't really need him. He has been here for nearly 300 appearances, however. Might be a bit bad to just release him on a free, but you never know what might happen. We've got Zabala, I believe that's his name, 24 years of age. Right back looks very, very good. I think he's probably going to walk straight into that starting 11. But Gilroy as well, also very good, can play left or right back. Not a huge amount of central defenders, and as you can see by looking at the star rating, it is Cal Sagner who's the clear standout player there. But we've also got Furkanis, I believe his name, 22 years of age. He doesn't look particularly awful either. Zane North looks like he's played a match. He's 18. Technically, he has come through our youth intake, but he's a real player, so he doesn't count for this type of challenge. In the left-back position, we've got Nathan Geyer, who's just amazing, apparently. Although, is he? No, that's Carl Sagno. Okay, I thought he was a 4.5 star. We've got Geyer, we've got Julian Kelly. I think Kelly's the better left-back option, but realistically, we'll probably play Bert Gilroy as a left-back and Zabala as a right-back. We've got 3 very good defence midfield options. However, when we look at the players who've actually started matches, we've got Henry Anoka, who has started, who's not bad, actually. He's not technically come through our youth intake. He's come through the CU Academy. And we've got Petrovic, who has come through our youth intake. He's also played. I imagine players like Pennington might not have been available for that last match. Was that why? He was an unused substitution against Moortown, which I think was our cup game. We've only played 1, and it was a cup game. So maybe they were kind of just basically sat on the subs bench for some reason. I don't quite know. Moving further up the pitch then, on the right-hand side, we've got Kadira, we've already mentioned, and then we've got Halloran and Broderick, 2 players who aren't particularly good at the moment. In the middle, actually, let's go to the left-hand side, shall we? Joshua Pin, he's not very good, he's okay. Maybe we need to replace him. We've got Emiliano Lawrence, and we've got Madrock, who I think could be good. Madrock looks like there's some potential there. In the attacking midfield central, we've got Waddington, who looks pretty decent, but is he more of a striker? I'm training him up to be an attacking midfielder. We've also got Raphael Struijk, who I think is very, very good for us. I think this is why Emiliano Lawrence will struggle to get game time, because Struijk is going to be in that starting 11 ahead of him. And then up front, we have Brownlee and we have Jack Mason, who has so far, I believe he started a match. And yes, he has started the Australian Cup game and didn't score a goal, which is not good. And what's even more frustrating and ridiculous is we've been knocked out of the Australian Cup. It was Heidelberg was the team that beat us 2-1. We are not a good side at the moment, okay? Season 1 might be a bit of a struggle for us because we are certainly not a good team. I've just seen, actually, Jack Mason picked up an injury in that match. So he got injured after 8 minutes. That would probably explain why he didn't play or score a goal. Before we jump forward to around January time, I want to just kind of briefly mention as well, going back to the rules, there is 2 stages to the A-League in Australia. We've got the regular league, which gives you a trophy, and then we have the grand finals, which gives you a trophy. So there is the possibility to win 2 different trophies this season. We've also had a money competition, because why not, which we came 3rd in. We also have the Australia Cup, which we know we have been knocked out of at the moment. Having a look at the season, they think we're going to finish rock bottom of the table. It's probably not too far off the truth, I think. We do have Calzagno, though, is in the Media Dream 11. That's quite nice. Anyway, let's jump forward then to around January time, where we'll see the transfer window come in. And I believe we also get a youth intake. Yes, we get them in October. So we're going to see our first ever youth intake in charge of Brisbane Roar. Robbie Cruz, by the way, is our head of youth development. He's not awful. He's not amazing. We could probably do better, but right now, don't think we're going to do too much better, because we're not a particularly good and a particularly appealing side to join at the moment. Well, on the 7th of January, maybe being knocked out of the Australian Cup has been a very good thing for us. We are currently top of the table, 6 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats. We've lost against Western United and Melbourne Victory. We've drawn with Perth, Melbourne City and Western United. And we have won against Central Coast Mariners, Sydney, Wellington, Western United, Adelaide and Western Sydney Wanderers. We are at the halfway point of the season as well. I believe we only played 22 matches. I feel like I should know this. We play in the regular season, we play 26 games. How do we play 26 games? Surely 33 would make more sense, unless we play a couple of teams like 3 times for some reason. I feel like I should know this at this point. Right, let's just sort this here. So, let's get rid of all of these. So, we're playing Adelaide 3 times. We are playing Perth Glory 3 times, Sydney 3 times, and Western United 3 times. Everyone else we're playing twice. I don't understand, but sure, why not? That's a thing. Just before we take a look at the youth intake, Emilio Lawrence has gone out on loan to Gold Coast Knights. I did think that he wouldn't get a huge amount of game time this season, and I've basically taken the opportunity to loan him out. He has gone for a bit of money as well. Not that it really makes too much difference, because right now money is kind of it's fictional. It's fictional for our Brisbane Roar side. So this is our youth intake. It's actually quite a big amount of players that we have brought in. We have got in a few players that I've starred that I think could be quite good. Tamas Kennel is the first one. He doesn't look amazing, but he is only 16. He does have 4.5-star potential ability. We've also got Simone Negri, who is a right and left winger. He looked quite good aerially and technically looks quite good. He's a bit slow, though, for a winger, so I'm not massively convinced. We've also got Ethan Johnson, which for some reason I haven't starred him. I feel like I probably should. Stephen Sutherland as well. Another option up front. Looks like he could be quite good. Paul Lawson. Decent looking, maybe centre-back, probably a centre-back, although he can't header because he's got 6 heading and he's 6'1", so that could be a little bit of a downfall. So we've had a few reasonable players. Mitchell Jones could be good as well, maybe. Not too convinced. He is from New Zealand, and yeah, he's all right, I guess. I will say this now, New Zealand and Australia, as stupid as it sounds, they are different places, and people from New Zealand count as foreigners. I will definitely slip up on this. Although I'm not sure how that works if you're like Wellington Phoenix. Do they not count as foreigners and Australians count as foreigners? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Obviously, 11 games into the season, we've had our first youth intake. We have ourselves a few things that we want to take a look at. Jack Mason, first of all, has played 12 matches for us. 4 goals and 1 assist. He's doing all right. I would like a few more goals, but we are currently top of the table, so that's fine. We are getting actually most of our goals coming from Raphael Struijk, which is why Lawrence has gone out on loan. Struijk has 9 in 11 starts. That's very good. We do also need to start thinking now. We're not going to do it yet, obviously, but we need to start thinking where do we want and who do we want to be bringing in as our youth player for Season 2 with this Brisbane Roar side. I don't really want to just keep bringing in attacking players. However, we don't have a huge amount of players other than Jack Mason who are any good. I will take a better look at the end of this season, or maybe the start of next season, just to kind of see what other options we've got. But yeah, Jack Mason is kind of the only player, apart from Calzagno, who came through in the youth intakes before we joined the club, who were any good. It might need to be somebody like Kennel, and I don't think Kennel can really cut it right now. We need a good youth intake next year, I think. Obviously, it is a transfer window. We have 118,000 to spend. We are massively over our wage budget. And yeah, we're going to have to lose somebody. And I think what happens if they're not registered in the squad, they just get released. So we're going to go forward and find out if that actually happens. I feel like it's going to. The transfer window is closed and 2 players have left the club. after not being registered, and these actually happened in October, and I didn't even realise. Joshua Pin is the first one, and Ben Halloran is the other one, so both of them have basically, they weren't able to be registered into the squad, which means they have been released, but that is all that has happened. We haven't lost anybody else, which doesn't make sense to me because we are over our wage budget, but maybe we've got a lot of scholarship players, that could be why we're over our wage budget. We're not over the actual salary cap, possibly. Also, we haven't done any transfer business because we have no money to spend, and I feel like spending it right now, probably not the wisest thing we could do. When it comes to competitions, we are still at top of the table, 6 points clear of Central Coast Mariners and Sydney FC. However, the Mariners do have themselves 1 game in hand, so it could be cut down to 3 points. But when we have a look at the squad, we can see Jack Mason has now got 12 goals in 18 appearances. Do not know what happened to Jack Mason over the last few matches, but he just went off. In January, he has scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals. 9 goals in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Jack Mason has started to fulfill his potential that I wasn't even quite sure was there, but he seems to be getting good. So, looks like youth player number 1 is turning out to be pretty good. We've also got Stroik is now on 13 goals as well this season, so we are starting to get the goals. We're still top of the table. We shouldn't be here, by the way. We certainly should not be here, but I'm happy we are. I guess the next thing to do then is to jump to the end of the regular season, and I think we're finishing in the top 3, which, does that mean, do we get like I nearly said European qualification, continental qualification, maybe. We'll be into the finals, which will be quite nice. We might get continental qualification, I'm not sure. It's now the 27th of April, and we have won the regular season by a ridiculous margin. We have won it by a total of 14 or 15 points between us and Newcastle Jets. Not only that, Jack Mason has finished the season now on 19 goals. We do still have to play the grand finals, I believe is what it is called. We've got another player who's broken into double figures as well. Waddingham, has got 10 goals. We've got Stroik also on 16 goals. Means we now go into the final series, which is basically us, Newcastle Jets, Central Coast Mariners, Melbourne Victory, Wellington Phoenix, and Sydney FC. I think we kind of missed this one. We go straight into the semi-finals. I don't know who we're going to be playing. So Brisbane Roar have won the regular season a few times before. In fact, twice before, 2011 and 2014. This is the 3rd time that they have won it. They've won the series final 3 times, 2011, 2012 and 2014. So they had a kind of really good 3-4 year period there. But hopefully we can return them back to this glory. And the fact that we've won the league after finishing bottom on 11 points, were they really just that bad and they just needed a goalkeeper? I feel like that could not have been the only problem. Anyway, we're going to jump forward then to the other side of the grand final series, whatever it is called. And are we going to pick up a second trophy of the season? It definitely counts as 2 trophies, which is really nice. So in the elimination final, Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory get past Central Coast Mariners and Wellington Phoenix into the semi-finals. We coast past Sydney FC 6-4 on aggregate to play Melbourne Victory in the final after they beat Newcastle Jets. And in the final, we win 3-1. So we have picked up the double this season. Mason finished the match on a 6.5, but Waddingham, Kadiri and Zabala managed to pick up some goals as well. So that is very, very good to see. We have won the double in our first season after finishing bottom last season. I'm either the best manager in the world or the guy before me was possibly the worst manager in the world. Just taking a look then at the squad, obviously we are going to focus on the starred players. So Jack Mason, we know, obviously locked in for the season, 21 goals now in everything, I say everything, in all competitions because it was 19 in the league and then 2 more in the finals. That is nice to see. If we sort by starred players, so Carl Sagno only played 4 matches because he damaged his cruciate ligaments. That would make sense. It's probably a good idea that I didn't lock him in because that would technically be cheating because we wouldn't have been playing anybody who was actually through our youth intakes. That's kind of bad that he's had damaged cruciate ligaments for the whole season. He's still very good. He's still our best player. Imagine if we had an actual first choice centre-back. That would have been just ridiculous. We've also got Petrovic, who came through a youth intake in Season 2, I believe. He's played a few times off the bench. He's getting better. Maybe Petrovic might be the one we lock in for Season 2. Think that might need to be the one. So I have highlighted here all of the players that could potentially be half decent from our youth intakes in the first 3 seasons, technically, because they are all under the age of 22. Calzagno we probably shouldn't include in this list. I'm looking at, we've got Petrovic, could be an option. Obviously, we've just had a look at Petrovic. J-Neve, maybe, possibly not. He's a centre-back. I'm not quite convinced that one is. However, we've got Pizza Miglioni, or Miglio, possibly. Something about his name. Yes, his name is Pizza. Might be doing it for me. Bronson Sherwood also is one that's kind of interesting, but more because of his physical attributes than anything else. Technically, he's absolutely awful, but sometimes this is what you need to do to develop the best players. Well, Season 1 is in the bag then with Brisbane Roar. 9 more to go. Next time around, we will be picking our second player to be joining, probably Jack Mason. We could drop Jack Mason for Season 2. We certainly could do that. Feel like it's a stupid idea after he scored 21 goals, but we're going to be picking our second player, and hopefully we're going to be retaining our title. And also, I think we're now going to be in the Champions League. I think we're in the Asian Champions League. Should we find out? So I believe we'll be entering the Asian Champions League directly into the group stages, which looks like the regular European Champions League, which is quite nice to see. And then just go second round, quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. I want to win the Asian Champions League before these 10 seasons are up. The fact that we're in there after just 1 season, quite promising. It's now the 17th of June 2026, and Season 2 of our Youth Development Challenge begins with Brisbane Roar. We are defending champions of not only the Australian A-League, but also the Finals Series as well. We have qualified for the Asian Champions League, and this season it would be nice to do something in the Australian Cup, not get knocked out in the first round by a bunch of literal amateurs. Okay, they're actually semi-professional, but still, we shouldn't have lost it. What with this being Season 2, it does mean that we now have to play 2 players who have come through our youth intakes in the last 3 seasons. They will be locked into our starting 11. Just to remind you, basically we need to play 1 player in Season 1, 2 players in Season 2, 3 in Season 3, 4 in Season 4, 5 in Season 5 and beyond. So we need to hopefully just keep getting good players. If we have a couple of really bad youth intakes, like 2 or 3 in a row, we're going to really struggle to field 5 players who are actually eligible and actually good enough to play for us. Being Season 2, we do need to lock in our second player who has come through our youth intake in the last 3 seasons. So we'll do that probably after the end of the transfer window. But these are the options. We also have Shelford Lugo, who I don't believe I mentioned last season. He was someone I just kind of saw went, actually, he's not bad. Maybe Lugo could be the one to get some game time. So Mason and Lugo, Mason and Petrovic, Mason and Pizza might be. Mason's definitely keeping his place because he's been very, very good. Lugo might be the man to step up. It is obviously a transfer window. We've got absolutely no money to spend, but we've got a little bit more of a wage budget this time around as opposed to last season, which I think was about 25 grand. So it's gone up by about £13,000 a week, which is a decent sum of money as long as we can find the right players to play there. Anyway, then, let's jump forward to the end of the first transfer window, see what business we have done, and I'll show you what player will be breaking into the starting 11 for Season 2. 3 players have joined over the summer, all of them on free transfers. First up is Rafael Leai, who is a Solomon Islander international, signed on a free transfer after he left Adelaide City. He's come in for kind of more depth, okay? That's all we've really done here for Leai. I can't see too much sort of future for him. I did have him, I believe, like a year or so ago, maybe even longer than that ago, when FM24 came out with Reading, and he was kind of okay with Reading in League One. Probably should be fine for Brisbane Roar in the A-League, I think. We've also signed Lakil Samuel, probably not his name at all, from Manchester City on a free transfer. Actually played 4 times for them. He's a 20-year-old central defender, obviously English, under-20 international, signed on a free, played 4 Premier League games last season. He's come in as obviously one of our 5 foreign players that we are allowed to bring in. I think he's just very good. I feel like him and Calzagno in central defence is definitely going to shore up that defence, which is what we kind of want to be doing. We want to be scoring lots of goals and not conceding. That's the worst description of how we should play football, but also the most obvious description as well. And we've also signed Diego Carreño, who is a 24-years-old Chilean goalkeeper signed from O'Higgins on a free transfer. I wanted another goalkeeper to join the club. Carreño, I think he's all right. He's not amazing. He's 24. He's still got a bit of time to develop if he is going to develop. He's joined on a free. Probably won't see a huge amount of him. There is also a big list of players here who have left on free transfer. So Hingert, Acton, Nikolowski, Geyer and Gorel have all left after basically either, well, Hingert retired, but everyone else got released because basically we just weren't going to play them anymore. So then the youth players that we're going to be locking in for Season 2. Jack Mason will be keeping his place leading the line at now 18 years old. He's got 1 under-20 cap and 1 under-20 goal to his name. So he will keep his place up front. And we'll be playing Gianni Pizzamiglione, a 17-year-old Australian centre-back and left-back and defensive midfielder. He will be our second youth player that we'll be playing. And we will actually be playing him as a left-back, whilst that is not his natural position, because we have Samuel and because we have Calzagno, I think that's his name. Pizza is going to be our left-back. Yes, I am going to refer to him as Pizza all the time, because Pizza Miglio is quite a long name, and I'm English and can't really pronounce things too well. Right, Editing Stuart here. I've just realised that Pizza isn't a youth player that's come through the Brisbane Roar intakes. And I don't know how I've not seen this, that he came from Gold Coast Knights. The problem is, I'm already way in the future when it comes to playing this save, and he gets locked in up until the end of Season 6. I can only apologise, because I'm a clown. Sorry. If you look at the quantity of players that we have in our squad, it is quite sizable at the moment. So we might need to make sure that we try and get rid of some players in the summer. Or I say summer, in January actually is when we need to try and do that, because obviously that's when transfer windows open. We've got some players that we could get rid of. We've got a lot of defensive midfielders. Some of them maybe we need to start looking to move on because of their age. We've got some attacking midfielders. We've got a lot of attacking midfielders who probably we don't need as many as we've actually got. But anyway, let's jump forward then to the start of January where the transfer window will open. We will also have our youth intake, so we'll take a look at some of those players as well. On the 6th of January, Carreño is no longer at the club. In fact, he was at the club for a total of about 3 days because basically we couldn't register him. We had too many foreign players and Carreño was not able to be registered. I said in Season 1 that we are going to get tripped up by some of the registration rules. It's happened after 1 season. In Season 2, we've ballsed up. We've spent money on signing on fees and things like that for Carreño, and he just can't be registered, so he's just left the club. I didn't even release him. He just got released because he wasn't in the 25-man or 23-man squad that we have to register. Anyway, on the 6th of January, we are top of the table and we are currently undefeated. We are the Invincibles at the moment. 11 wins, including a pretty sizable one against Western Sydney Wanderers, a 6-1, 5-1 against MacArthur FC, 4-3 against Western United. Lots of threes. Lots and lots of threes scored there. 2 draws against Adelaide and Melbourne, and obviously a nice big 0 for defeats, which means we are top of the table by 8 points so far ahead of Wellington Phoenix. They do have a game in hand, but still that's going to be 5 points even if they win that. When it comes to the Australian Cup, we have been knocked out in the second round by Melbourne City FC, which is good in a way because it means we've got past the bunch of amateurs that we have to play in round 1, but we have immediately fallen at the first hurdle of anybody half decent. So that would be nice to try and improve that. And the Asian Champions League, we have been knocked out in the group stage, and we got knocked out against Niigata, Chiang Rai United and Hwebul. Hwebul are from North Korea, fair enough. Who else we got? Chiang Rai United are from Thailand and Niigata are from Japan. So did we do... I mean, we weren't too bad. We picked up 8 points. We lost against both the teams who finished ahead of us. That's the problem. And we only beat the team from North Korea. Yeah, we could have done better. The fact that we got there is fine. I'm kind of okay with that. So for the youth intake for this season, we've got a few players. A couple that I've actually starred. Probably want to have a look at some of the other ones as well. So Matty Barker, who is English, is our top player that has come through our youth intake. 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. He is 16 years of age. He is English, but he is also Australian. So he does count as being homegrown, which is good. He's not a foreigner. I'm not too impressed by all those downwards arrows, but I feel like that just kind of doesn't really mean a huge amount at the moment. He might be one getting some game time next season. You never know. The other one that I have starred is Jared Hayes, 16 years old, central defender. Could be left back, could be a right back, although at 6'4" and with 6 heading. He's got 15 jumping reach, but 6 heading. He's definitely a centre back, isn't he? He's not going to be a full back or in particular an attacking wing back, which is the role that we play either side. So Hayes, I think there could be something there. Certainly could be something there. We've also got Luke Quinn, who's not a very good goalkeeper, but could be good. Paul Flannery, who looks like a reasonable striker. 15 finishing is good. 14 heading is actually not terrible either. Miroslav Blazovic, who's... I quite like him. Problem is, I feel like he's not an attacking midfielder. I feel like he's more of a central midfielder, which is a role, or a position, sorry, that we just don't play. He could be good, but I just don't think he's going to fit our system. Let's have a look at Paul Radford as well, who's okay at the moment, apparently, but he's only got 3-star potential. So a couple of decent-ish options. Matty Barker, probably the standout player for this season. Maybe next year he is one of those people who gets locked into the starting 11. Speaking of players who have been locked into the starting 11, Pizza has played a total of 7 matches. No, he hasn't. He's played 14. He's played 7 in the league, 2 in the Cup, and 5 in the Champions League. So he's played a fair bit, but I believe he has picked up somewhat of an injury. In fact, has he picked up 2 injuries? He has. He's picked up 3 injuries. He had food poisoning, a bruised shin, and a broken wrist. So he's missed a fair amount of football playing in that left back, but that's fine. He's still developing. He's okay. He's not really a particularly good left back either. After I mentioned about the previous guy who wasn't going to work well in our system, Pizza doesn't really work well either, but he's doing all right. Somebody who's doing a little bit better than all right is Jack Mason. He has now got 21 starts and 11 goals this season, 27 league goals and 42 league appearances. Still no Australia caps, not even getting called up to the national side. Only 1 under-20 cap as well, so he's not even kind of picked up any more of those. He is 4-star current ability, however, so I feel like he shouldn't need to be picked anymore. He's probably our best striker. We've also got, I want to take a look at Cal Sagno. Now that he's returned from his injury, he is getting some game time. Seems like he is one of our best central defenders, and I'm assuming it is Samuel who's playing alongside him. Yeah, looks like it. He's got 20 appearances as well. Goals, Stroik is the top scorer this time around at the moment with 12 goals scored. Lawrence has 7. Kadiri also has 7. We've got Waddingham on 5. We've also got Zabala as a right back on 5 as well with 15 assists. So we're out of the Australian Cup and out of the Asian Champions League, but we are still very, very comfortably sat top of the table. We are going to go forward and see whether we're going to spend any of this £191,000. Probably not, because we can't really buy much for £191,000, but we're going to see what we do through the January transfer window. One player has joined on a free transfer, and that is Lautaro Molinas, a 20-year-old Argentine right winger. I've brought him in because I feel like Kadiri, I believe he's now 31, might be on his way out, so we need ourselves a better right winger. Molinas is certainly a better right winger. He has come in basically to fill that role. I don't think we've lost anybody else. We've lost Kadiri, haven't we? Of course we've lost Kadiri. Yeah, he's obviously not registered, so his contract has literally just been terminated. We've also lost Lujic, could be his name, and also Furcanas, who, he was good. He was good. The problem with him is if you take a look, he's American and only American. He would have been Australian if he just stayed here for a few more months. Taking a look at the league then, a few more matches have obviously been played and still 0 defeats to our name. 14 wins and 2 draws. We are now 11 points clear of Wellington Phoenix, but they do have a game in hand. Sydney have 2 games in hand, but they are literally double their points, and they will be joint on points with us, and we'd still have a better goal difference. What is going on? How are we so good? Anyway, we are going to jump forward then to the end of the regular season, see how well things go. Will we be crowned champions for a second successive season? And then it will obviously be into the grand finals as well. It wasn't in any doubt. 26 games played, 19 of them turn into victories, 5 of them are draws, 2 defeats, Newcastle Jets and Sydney FC actually picking up 3 points against us, but we win the league by a massive 16 points over second place Melbourne City, and that was 20 points over third place Sydney FC. We've absolutely dominated this league, and I don't know how or why, but I'm kind of okay with it. In fact, I do know how. We've scored 75 goals, 11 of them coming against Western United. 75 goals in 26 matches. That is literally 3 goals a game. It does mean, obviously, we are in the final series as well, which is obviously we're going to jump forward in a moment just to see how well that pans out. I want to take a very quick look. So Jack Mason now has 18 goals. He's still good. He's still not getting Australia caps or even under 21s caps or anything like that. He's still picking up lots and lots of goals. Stroik is there, 17 goals. Waddingham on 13. And Lawrence is actually on 12 as well. How's Pizza getting on? Pizza's got a goal to his name and also 5 or 6 assists. He's a natural left back. He's getting there. He's improving as well, which is nice to see. Well, the next thing that we need to do then is jump to the end of this season, see how well we get on in the grand finals. So Sydney FC and Newcastle Jets go through the elimination round, beating Melbourne Victory and Wellington Phoenix into the semi-finals. We beat Sydney FC 5-3 on aggregate, actually drawing the first match 3-3. Newcastle Jets get knocked out by Melbourne City FC, the team that I believe knocked us out of the Australian Cup. So in the final, what does that mean? We beat them 4-0 in the final. A very comfortable victory for us. Jackie Mason scoring 2 and Zabala from right back also scoring 2 goals in this one. We are back-to-back champions of not only the regular A-League, but also the grand finals as well. Which means, obviously, we will be once again back into the Asian Champions League. An Asian Champions League that has just been won by FC Seoul in South Korea, beating Al Nassr of Saudi Arabia. I feel like once we can start getting a bit of momentum in the Champions League, a lot of these teams that go through, I feel like we should be able to beat. We should be able to beat basically anyone who isn't from a Japan or a Saudi Arabia or one of the countries that have just loads of money. We should be able to beat quite comfortably. So I feel like it's going to happen. We've got 8 more seasons of this, but I feel like we could win the Asian Champions League. I feel like I should know this, but has any Australian side won the Asian Champions League? Western Sydney Wanderers. Western Sydney Wanderers won it in 2014. Fair enough. Is that it? I feel like that's it. Because obviously before here, it would have been was it the Oceania one? Yeah, so the Oceania Champions League, which is weirdly Henderson Eels from the Solomon Islands is getting to the final, is just going to be won by teams from New Zealand. So it seems like, yeah, so Sydney FC were probably the last Australian side to win it, and then it just moved to basically teams from New Zealand winning it most of the time. We've also got a team from Papua New Guinea, Team Wellington, which are also New Zealand, High Kenny from New Caledonia, and Wellington Olympic from New Zealand. So yeah, we're getting basically teams from New Zealand winning it year on year. So I guess our objective is to become the second team ever from Australia to win the Asian Champions League. It would have been nice to be the first one, but unfortunately, obviously, Western Sydney Wanderers have done that. So in Season 3 then, we do have to pick ourselves a third player to join probably Pizza and Mason. I'm thinking it might be Petrovic, defence midfielder. We don't want to overload our defence with too many players. We don't want to overload our attack with too many players who aren't necessarily good enough. So Petrovic can play that DM role. Think he might be the one. Actually having a look, so Petrovic has played a few matches, 5 starts and 8 off the bench. Sheffield Lugo has actually played 4 matches off the bench as well. He's pretty good, but he would have to play as the attacking midfielder. Don't know whether that's a good idea. I've just put in all of the players, so all of these ones obviously with stars on their name are the ones that have kind of come through youth intake. No one else seems to have played. Could it be Matty Barker? Could he be the one to do it? He is 2.5-star current ability. We've got Jared Hayes as well, 2-star current ability. Might not quite be good enough. Ethan Johnson as well, 2-star current ability. Might not be good enough at the moment. We will have to wait and see until next season. Season 3 is here then with our Brisbane Roar team. We have done the double-double, which means we won the double last year, winning the A-League and the final series as well, and we won the double in our first season in charge. Can we do the triple-double? That's a basketball term, I think. We are obviously into the Asian Champions League and the Australia Cup as well. I would like to do well in the Australia Cup at some point over these 10 seasons, because so far we've been knocked out in round 1 and round 2. I feel like we should be good enough to win this. If we are winning the league every season, or 2 out of 2, we should be good enough to win the Australia Cup as well. And because we're doing so well in the Australian League, I feel like we should be able to do alright in the Champions League also. Just a reminder for you, last season we did actually get knocked out in the group stages of the Champions League. Somewhat unluckily, I believe, because we won twice, but we drew against the 2 teams who finished ahead of us, and we lost against the 2 teams that finished ahead of us. If we turned one of those into a win, we would have probably qualified in second place as one of these best of the rest kind of qualifiers, I imagine that's probably what would have happened. But anyway, that did not happen. So here we are again, once again, back into the Champions League group stage, obviously being Season 3 as well. And this is a youth development challenge. We need to pick our third player who is going to be joining our starting 11. In Season 1, it was Jack Mason, the striker who has so far played 2 full seasons up front, scoring 37 league goals. In Season 2, Gianni Pizza Miglione joined the ranks, starting as our left back. And in Season 3, I've not quite made my decision yet. Shelford Lugo could be the man to do it. Obviously, he's not going to be playing up front, though, because Mason is going to be keeping that position. But I feel like Lugo could be the man to fill into that attacking midfield role. He's obviously not all the options that we have, but he is the best of the options. So we've also got players like Bronson Sherwood, Ethan Johnson, Jared Hayes, Jay Neve, Kang Jing Long. We've got Kresimir Petrovic, who Petrovic maybe. He's very good mentally, so maybe that's something we need to consider. Matty Barker as well is an option. Sean Heggie is not an option. He's not a very good goalkeeper. We've got Negri as well, who I think could be all right. He looks very good aerially and technically. Stephen Sutherland, who again looks like he could be okay, and Thomas Kennel, again another option, could be okay. So there's a few people. I think it might be. It's possibly going to be Lugo. It could be Petrovic. It could even be Jay Neve. Jay Neve maybe. I mean, he's not good enough yet, but I feel like we need to start bringing in some other players, like a centre-back could be handy. Although saying that, we do have Pizza who can play as a centre-back. Anyway, that's enough waffling for me at the moment. Obviously, it is the start of a brand new season. The transfer window is open. We've got £469,000 to spend. We've got a reasonable wage budget as well. And as of yet, we haven't done any transfer business. We have loaned out one player, I believe, which is Plusnin. He has gone out on loan, but nothing else has actually happened. These two, despite the fact they are considered this season, and this is technically last season, this season hasn't started yet because it should be the 27-28 season. It's now the 8th of September and the window has closed, and 8 players have joined the club. We have yet to really play any proper matches. We played some cup games. We'll get to those in just a minute, but let's take a look at the players that have joined the club. In order of when we signed them, basically, so not in order of anyone who's the best and the worst and that kind of thing, but Stephen Hall is first up, 22 years of age, Australian, formerly of Brighton, actually played 16 times for Brighton, did concede 33 over those 16 league games, but he's joined on a free transfer to provide a bit more depth in our goalkeeping position. Jake Girdwood Reich, maybe, could be his name, 23-year-old Australian international, signed from St. Louis City over in America. I nearly said the MLS, but I don't think that's actually an MLS side in the game. He has got 3 caps to his name. He's actually a very good player. He's obviously going to be probably more deployed as the defensive midfielder rather than a centre-back, but he could play there if we need him to. We've also picked up a youngster in the shape of Joshua Knoll, 19 years of age, a very good-looking defensive midfielder, centre-back maybe, but he's not actually a centre-back, who's actually naturally as a left-back. Probably need to retrain Joshua Knoll, but I think he's good. He's probably good enough to play now, but certainly one for the future as well. Chris Donnell is another player to make up the numbers of our Australians, because basically I keep buying players who aren't Australian, and that's a problem. So Chris Donnell is an Australian, 23 years old, 4 under-20s caps, formerly of Gorica in, I'm going to say, Croatia. He has come in on a free transfer. All of these players are free, by the way. We've not spent a single penny, I don't think. So yeah, Donnell is in. He's a good option, probably actually one of our better defensive midfielders. We've also signed Shabalanov Trenkov, and you might be thinking, hold on, isn't he already here? Nope, that's his brother. Have I signed him because it's his brother? Yes. Don't worry, he's Bulgarian, and also he is part Australian, so it's not too much of a problem. I brought him in because of his brother. Literally, that's the only reason. He'll never play for us. In fact, I've dropped him to the B team. We've also brought in youngster Tommy Conrad, 19 years of age, who is a New Zealander with 11 caps to his name, right back by trade. Looks pretty good. Signed him from Auckland United, obviously over in New Zealand. I think we could have ourselves a very good right back. Obviously, he doesn't count as homegrown, but he could be a good option if we need to if we need someone to basically, if we don't lock in a right back, maybe Conrad Tommy. Did I call him Tommy Conrad? His name's Conrad Tommy. Tommy's a weird surname. Anyway, yeah, what I'm trying to say is he could be a good option as our right back if we need one. And finally, probably the best signing we've ever made so far is Dujon Richards, 21 years of age, Jamaican international, 17 caps, 4 goals to his name, formerly of Chelsea, spent a bit of time on loan at Central Coast Mariners last season. Obviously, he is not Australian, and he said American. He's not Australian, but he has spent 224 days here so far. It does take, I think that is 5 years for them to... No, 10 years. That might be 10 years. No, it's 5 years, surely. I can't do maths. I think it's 5 years. Might even be 4 years for them to actually become Australian. So if he sticks around long enough, he will become Australian and then therefore won't count as a foreign player. And we haven't sold anybody. That's pretty much it. We haven't sold anybody. We brought in a whole bunch of people, as I've mentioned. These were the ones that kind of went out on loan earlier. And when it comes to the player that we are locking into our starting 11, it is Shelford Lugo. He is the man. He is the person who's going to be taking the position of attacking midfielder. So as I mentioned in the start of the season, he's going to be playing just behind Jack Mason. Mason keeps his position up front. Pizza keeps his position as our left back. And I think so far, when it comes to youth players that we're locking in, we're doing all right. We've got some pretty good options. I am concerned, however, that if we still don't get too many good players coming through the next few seasons, Jack Mason... How old is Jack Mason right now? He is 19. We've got Lugo, who's 19, and Pizza is 18. In 2, maybe 3 seasons' time, Mason can't be locked in because he'll be too old to play for us. Same with Lugo, same with Pizza. In theory, Carl Sagno, even though he's a youth player that comes through our youth intake, I can't lock him in now because he's too old. He needs to be 21 at the start of the season back in June or July or whenever it actually is. So competition-wise, obviously 8th of September, we are still in the Australian Cup, which is absolutely magical, into the quarter-final up against Wellington Phoenix. And interestingly, looking at some of the teams that are left, and by some of them, one fixture, we have Wollongong Wolves, who are not in the A-League, versus Altona Magic, who are also not in the A-League. So the fact that one of those teams is going to get to the semi-final of the Australia Cup is quite ridiculous. And then when it comes to the Champions League, we have Daegu, Johor and Yokohama. So Daegu, I'm not even sure where they're from. South Korea, there we go. We've got Johor from Malaysia and we have Yokohama, obviously, from Japan. So it's a tough group, but I feel like we should be good enough. If we win in the A-League every single season, we should be good enough to win the Champions League group stages at the very least. Could we be on for winning 3 trophies? 4 trophies, technically, if we win the finals as well of the A-League. Anyway, we are going to jump forward then and find out what happens in the first part of the season. We're going to go all the way through to the start of the winter transfer window, although because it's Australia, technically it's the summer transfer window, isn't it? So on the 5th of January, we're going to talk about players that got released because basically they were not registered in the 23-man squad, 25-man squad, whatever it is. Rafael Fuluk is one of them, not very good, obviously 22 years old. He's already found himself a new club. And Conrad Tommy has left because I have too many foreign players in my squad. And Conrad Tommy didn't make the cut. I didn't even realise he didn't make the cut either. I was wondering where he'd gone, and then I went, hold on, did he get released? He got released, because I'm a clown. I'm an absolute clown. Anyway, when it comes to the league so far, we are 10 games in. We're second place in the table, just 1 point behind Newcastle Jets, and 2 points ahead of Sydney FC, who actually have played one more game than us. So we're looking all right at the moment. We have won the Australia Cup. So from Season 1, getting knocked out in Round 1, from Season 2, getting knocked out in Round 2, to Season 3, to winning the whole thing. A 6-2 victory in the final. Goals from Lugo, Stroik, Donnell, Burke-Gilroy, Stroik again, and Waddingham mean that we pick up a very nice, comfortable victory. Stroik, by the way, is ridiculous. He's here in real life, I believe. He's amazing. He is one of our foreign players, which is part of the reason why Conrad Tommy no longer plays for us, but I feel like Stroik's a better player. And in the Champions League, we did just about manage to get through the group stages, but we finished as the best of the rest. So Yokohama winning the group, 5 wins and 1 defeat, which I assume was against us. It was. We absolutely battered them. We win 4 against Johor, 6-0. We beat Daegu 2-0, Yokohama 4-0, and Johor once again 3-1. And then 2 defeats against Yokohama and Daegu. So if we beat Daegu that second time, then it wouldn't have been even a question. We would have gone top of the table because basically our goal difference is ridiculous. And in the second round, we've drawn up against Yokohama. I feel like the seeding either doesn't work or doesn't exist in the Asian Champions League because I feel like that shouldn't be happening. But anyway, it's what's happening. I feel like we might be getting knocked out in the second round. Just having a look, by the way, when you look at all the teams who are at this point in the Asian Champions League, it is Koreans, Saudi Arabians, United Arab Emirates, Qatari, Chinese and Japanese. That's pretty much it, isn't it? I think it is. That is literally all it is, and then us. So you have to be one of like 5 nations to get out of the group stages of the Champions League. But in the group stages, you get teams from all over the place. Like an Indian side finishing 3rd. You've got an Iranian side finishing 3rd there. They're just, none of them are seeming to get out of the Champions League group stages. Estigal, that could be their name. They're really good, as far as I'm aware. Finishing 2nd, just narrowly missing out. So basically, like 5 or 6 nations seem to qualify for the Champions League group stages when it realistically should be a little bit more varied, or it would be nice if it was more varied. Anyway, at the halfway point of the season, I do want to take a quick look at the players. So Pizza is now got 2 goals and 8 assists, which is very good. He's a natural left back, turning into a reasonable player. He's arguably more of a centre back, but he can't header. He's got 8 heading, and he's 6'1", so he's not even the biggest of players for centre backs. He's much taller than I am as a human. But yeah, Pizza maybe should be a centre back, but he's doing a job at left back. Jack Mason, obviously leading the line, has 12 goals in all competitions, but only 6 of them in the league, 4 of them in the Champions League. And new man Shelford Lugo, he's starting okay, 3 league goals and 8 starts, 6 Champions League games, but no goals in that, and 3 goals in 5 Australia Cup games, obviously one of them coming in the final. So he's doing alright. Obviously, we're still only 10 games into the league season. He's missed 2 of them, and he's got 3 goals. That's kind of okay. His XG is nearly a 5, so I would like to maybe to see 5 goals, but there we are. Anyway, it is a transfer window, and we have a bit of money to spend, £450,000, but I don't think we're really going to do too much business. We're going to jump forward and find out what we actually do. Nothing, technically. I mean, we did learn out Bronson Sherwood. He's gone to Olympic FC to hopefully get a bit more game time. He was one of the players that was possibly in contention of getting into the starting 11 this season. Obviously, he's missed out, so I thought, you know what, let's get some game time playing somewhere else. So, Olympic FC, they seem to loan a lot of our players. I don't really know why. In other news, we have also moved ourselves to the top of the table with 37 points now. So 5 games were played over January and the start of February. And we have leapt over Sydney FC and Newcastle Jets. In fact, Newcastle Jets, I think, were top. They've had a pretty poor January. We've had a very good one. And I think Jack Mason, actually, from form perspective, has missed most of January because he's been away on international duty. Okay, has Lugo missed most of January? He's not. He's done well. He scored a couple of goals there, scored a goal there, scored a goal there. And Pizza actually missed for most of it as well, being away on international duty. I did completely forget to mention this. I think October is when our youth intakes come in, and I always forget. I always want to check around March time, but for some reason in Australia they come in a lot earlier. We had a terrible, terrible youth intake. So we have Fias, might be his name, Fleming, a 16-year-old Irish international, or under-21 international, sorry, as a left winger. Could be all right. He doesn't look amazing though, does he? We've got Michael Knight, who is not a very good centre-back. We've got Antolic, who's a much better centre-back, but I still don't think he's very good. He's got lots of 9s. 8s and 9s, which is the reason why I put a star against him and not Michael Knight. And we have Mud Faris Noor, who is a Malaysian left midfielder and left winger, who again, I don't think is going to be very good. These are the 4 players that we've signed, by the way, through our youth intake. There were others who were worse, who didn't make the cut. This is what I keep saying. I'm worried that if we have some poor youth intakes over a few seasons, we are going to struggle, say season 5 or 6, to actually field 5 good players who are eligible that have come through our youth intake. Right, next up, we're going to jump then to the end of the regular season, see how well things go. We will be most of the way through the Champions League as well, so we would have played Yokohama F. Marinos and probably a bunch of other teams, assuming we beat them. We didn't beat them. I mean, technically, we did beat them. We lost on away goals, which surely that's not a thing in the Asian Champions League. I thought they'd binned that off years ago. Anyway, we beat them 3-2, but we also lost. What did we lose? How did they win on away goals? That doesn't make sense. We scored 3 away from home. They scored 2. Wait, no, that's that. Okay, so we won 3-2 at home. So this is confusing. So this is the first leg was played Yokohama at home. We were away, which ended 2-1 to Yokohama. And then the second leg was Brisbane Roar versus Yokohama. And we won 3. It's fine. Okay, I was just about to just phone up Miles and be like, it's wrong. You've broken it. You've ruined my entire save. But we're okay. We have won the A-League for the 3rd successive season, a massive 60 points. So the first season we were in charge, we got 58. Last season we got 62. This season we get 60. So an average over the 3 seasons of 60, because I can do very quick maths like that, does mean that we go into the A-League final series. I'd love to win it again. I feel like we should be able to. It's going to be Newcastle Jets, Sydney, Wellington, Phoenix, Western Sydney Wanderers and Adelaide. I think we skipped 1 round, so we kind of go into the semi-finals. And I've just seen Jack Mason has now got 20 goals in all competitions, 13 of them coming from the league. Shelford Lugo has 17 goals, also 13 in the league. 14 assists for Pizza, 3 goals as well coming in the league, 8 assists coming from Pizza in the league as well. So all of a sudden, the second part of the season, things seem to have turned around a little bit, and that's obviously how we've kind of run away with the league a bit. Right, last thing to do then, jump to the end of the season. Do we pick up another trophy? It'll be trophy number 3. Could we do the treble? And how fitting for Season 3, we do win 3 trophies. We have completed the treble the first time ever we have done that. Lugo and Richards with a brace. So where's Richards playing? On the right wing. Obviously, he's naturally a striker, but he can't play there. So Richards just kind of reverted himself to be a right winger, and he's done very well, scoring twice in the final, winning us our 3rd trophy of the season. I've just seen as well, Pizza's got himself an assist. That's nice to see. So 3 trophies at the end of the season. Taking a quick look at the 3 players then. So Pizza, 15 assists in all competitions, just 3 goals, but he's a left back. Kind of what you'd expect. 1 assist for Mason, because he's selfish, but 22 goals, 15 of them coming in the A-League. 2 of those 15 coming in at the finals. And then Shelford Lugo scoring 18 goals in all competitions with 8 assists. 14 in the league, 1 of them in the finals. The fact that Shelford Lugo, he's kind of fallen into this team, and actually he is technically our 2nd best player going by star rating. He has leapt over Mason and Pizza already. The worry now is, who do we put as our player number 4 for Season 4? You can see I've already called up some people who could be in contention. So it is Neve, it is Petrovic, and it is Barker are the 3 players that we might be considering. I feel like Petrovic might need to do it, because this is technically going to be... He's got 1, maybe 2 seasons that he could play. So maybe Petrovic is the man to go in. Neve, he's got 3 seasons, and I don't know whether Neve is good enough. He might be our last resort centre-back if we don't have anyone good enough for Season 5. So a successful season with Brisbane Roar. We have won a bunch of trophies, back into the Champions League, and we got out of the group stages as well. Maybe for Season 4 we can do something similar. my eyes now have to be set on that Asian Champions League. In just 3 seasons with Brisbane Roar, we have managed to win a total of 7 trophies. Admittedly, 6 of them have basically been the same trophy. We have won the A-League 3 times in a row. We have also won the series finals 3 times in a row. And we have won the Australian Cup once last season. This time around, obviously, we want to be doing the same thing again. But the Asian Champions League is where I want to be doing our business. I want to be winning this thing before the end of this 10-season save. This is Season 4. And because this is Season 4 of our Youth Development Challenge, we need to pick our 4th player to be locked into our starting 11 for the season. Luckily, we don't need to change any of the 3 pre-existing players. Jack Mason from Season 1 obviously keeps his place starting up front at 20 years of age now. He's getting towards the end of us not being able to lock him in. Once he is basically 22 years of age at the start of each season, we are not allowed to lock him in, but Jack Mason is fine for probably, I guess he is fine for 2 more years. From Season 2, it is Gianni Pizzamiglione. He is also locked in as our left back. Season 3, it was the outstanding Shelford Lugo, who started 27 league games for us, scored 14 goals, 19 goals in all competitions in just 1 season. And now for our Season 4 player, I know we're already picking him early, and it might be a surprise to you. He's 19-year-old Jay Neve. Now, this is kind of a plan for the future, sort of. Basically, he's got 3 years possible of playing in our starting 11. If he plays all 3 seasons in that starting 11, he might get good. If we never play Jay Neve, he might never hit this 4.5-star potential. He might never hit it anyway. If we don't play him, he will guarantee not hitting it. So we are doing a somewhat of a tactical risk to play Jay Neve as our starting player for number 4, and he will be obviously playing as a centre-back. We did have 2 other options that I was considering, Matty Barker being one of them, the 18-year-old English, now under 19 international, as a right winger, was possibly going to get locked in. I say right winger, left winger, sorry. And Kresimir Petrovic, but the problem with Petrovic is he only has 3.5-star potential ability, and I think if he's any good, he's already played 12 times for us anyway. If we lock him in, we might kind of be, not doing ourselves a disservice, but I think in this season, we don't need to do it yet. Maybe next year, when we're starting to run low on players that are valid for us, Petrovic might need to be the one to get kind of locked in. Or the other option, obviously, is we could actually drop Jay Neve at the end of the season. We could drop Pizza, we could drop Mason, or we could drop Lugo. We don't need to keep these players in. I'm just choosing to do so because I feel like it is the best for us to do this right now. Anyway, it is obviously the start of a new season, and obviously we are in a transfer window. We've got £1.8 million to spend, and I don't really know what we're going to do with it, because right now, I don't think there's a lot we can do. I don't really show you this too much. In fact, I don't think I've shown you this at all, but we are only allowed to have 5 foreign players and 23 players in total, and we've got a salary cap of £27,000 per week. We can also have 2 designated players. I should probably tell you who we've got at the moment. We have Laturo Molinas, who is one of our 5 foreign players, who arguably probably not the best use to one of those slots. We also have Lackley Samuel, probably not how his name is said at all, but he is one of our other foreign players. Rafael Struijk is also one of our 5 foreigners on that left wing. He's very, very good, been here since the start of the save. Dujon Richards is also one of our foreign players, as is Emilio Lawrence. And when it comes to designated players, I don't think there's a way of actually finding this out easily, but I think it's Rafael Struijk and Lackley Samuel, basically the 2 players who are getting paid the most money. If we have a look at registration, we can probably find it here, actually. So Samuel is not. He's not. It just says he's foreign. So Dujon Richards is one of our designated players. So if you look there, designated player is up against Dujon Richards, and I'm sure it's Struijk. I'm almost certain it is Struijk. So yeah, we've got Struijk and Richards who are designated players. Realistically, what you want to be doing with your designated players is bringing in a foreigner as well. I mean, it will take up one of your slots, but the chance of you getting a world-class Australian footballer versus a world-class Argentine footballer, it's significantly different. Anyway, a lot of waffling has gone on at the start of this season. We're going to jump forward to the end of the transfer window to see if we've done any business. So far, nothing has happened, by the way, so let's find out what we do. So it's quite fitting that I actually went and showed you the registration things, because basically, I've come to the realisation we've got too many foreign footballers that aren't necessarily any good, and we don't have a huge amount of Australian footballers who are kind of good enough to be squad depth, basically. We've got a lot of good starters, not a huge amount of squad depth. So that's kind of what we've done over the summer. And by summer, I mean European summer, Australian winter in August. It's Blake Green, 22 years of age, signed from Newcastle Jets after his contract expired. Decent looking central defender. He's cost absolutely nothing. Christian Langlois has signed a 20-year-old Australian under-20 international, signed from Coburn City on a free transfer. Goalkeeper, obviously. Basically, we needed a third-choice goalkeeper. Langlois could be that man. I feel like he's never going to kick a ball for us. Another youngster to sign on a free transfer is Jaden Tucker, 20 years of age, formerly of Melbourne Victory. Never actually played for their first team, but did play for their NPL side. Decent-looking young central midfielder. He's actually sat in our youth team at the moment. Probably need to retrain him up to be either an attacking midfielder or a defence midfielder, or he'll never kick a ball for us. That's starting to sound like a bit of a kind of a running theme with these players. Milan Lee, next up, 19 years old, right winger, signed formerly of the ICU Academy. What are they? I can't remember. It's Canberra. It is Canberra United Academy. He's come in on a free transfer. I brought him in because he had a bit of potential. I realistically not seeing it now, am I? And we did also pay a little bit of money for this man, Ashley Phillips. He's cost £2,600, signed from Brisbane Strikers, which I can only assume is just up the road from us. 20 years of age, right back, centre back, maybe a right midfielder. Probably one for the future, maybe, if we're lucky. But obviously, because he's not come from our youth intake, he does not count as one of our youth players, in theory. We've also lost a player over the summer. Julian Kelly has left the club because his contract was not extended, basically. He just didn't want to do it for some reason. I imagine because he wasn't playing, because Pizza was playing as our left back. So yeah, goodbye Julian Kelly, have a lovely time. So that has been it for the transfer business. You can see we are in the Australian Cup quarter-final, which means we've done reasonably well in the Australian Cup. We have got past, I believe, 2 rounds, have we not? We have got past 2 rounds. So we won 15-0 against UQ, University of Queensland Football Club. Yeah, we often just win the first round by silly goals sometimes. We also then won against Oakley Cannons 9-0. So far we have scored a total of 24 goals in 2 matches. And now we're up against Wellington Phoenix. Much like last season, there is one kind of tie in the quarterfinals. Robina City, whoever they are, I don't know if they're any good, versus St Albans Saints, which I'm pretty sure aren't even Australian at this point. They've got a Croatian, or the Dynamo Kiev. Who is it? It's just Dynamo, isn't it? Dynamo from Croatia as their badge, and they're called St Albans. Fair enough. One of those 2 teams is going to make it to the Australian Cup semi-final. And just to confirm then, this will be our locked-in starting 4 players for this season. It will be Neve in defence, Pizza as our left-back, Lugo as the attack midfield, and Jack Mason leading the lines. And already, Jay Neve has scored a goal. Jay Neve has got 1 goal in the Australia Cup and 2 assists from centre-back. For a player of this quality, this might have been a stroke of genius. If he starts playing well, I might be the best talent scout Football Manager has ever seen. Although, I'd like to point out, I also picked Jack Mason and Shelford Lugo. Anyway, then, next thing to do is jump forward to the start of the next transfer window in January, see how well things go. We will obviously have ourselves the Asian Champions League. We have Beijing, Hiroshima, and Port. Port are from Thailand, are they not? They are from Thailand. Hiroshima, obviously, from Japan, and Beijing, obviously, from China. So we've got 3 very, very good sides there. If we can get out of that group, I will be kind of surprised. We should be able to, but that is the group of death of the Asian Champions League, in my opinion. I'm now just going to have a look at some of the other ones and see if there is anything else that is arguably more difficult. They're not. They're easy. I say they're easy. They're not easy, are they? But that's quite easily the difficult group, right? Anyway, let's jump forward then to somewhere early January time. The first port of call then is the Australian Cup, where we win in the final against Sydney FC. A 2-1 victory in the end. Goals from Stroik and Jack Mason, with technically the winning goal in the 64th minute. Jay Neve gets a 6.6. I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing right now. Oh, and interestingly, we were the team to knock out St Albans Saints in the semi-final 6-1. We beat Wellington Phoenix 4-2 as well. So we scored a stupid amount of goals in the Australian Cup. We scored an absolute ridiculous amount of goals. Jack Mason finishes top scorer with 7 in 4 matches. As for the Champions League, I was kind of right. We have been knocked out. Beijing win the group. I wasn't expecting Beijing to win the group. Maybe I should have been expecting, because I think they are probably the best team there. But Beijing win the group. We finished second with wins against Port and Hiroshima. 3 draws. Port, Hiroshima and Beijing. And then obviously a defeat against Beijing, which means we are out of the Champions League. That's kind of annoying. I am interested, actually, in the second round. Are there any other Australian sides? I'm going to assume not, because they're definitely in there. So unlike the other season, we've got a team from UAE now, we've got a team from Qatar and a team from Iran, and obviously then your usual Saudi Arabian, Japanese and Chinese teams and Korean teams. So we're starting to maybe get a slight kind of difference. How many others? Oh, that's just going to do each group individually. That's not going to be helpful. So was it just us? Were we the only Australian side in this? Yes, we were, because Sydney FC got knocked out by Bangkok United. Newcastle Jets got knocked out by URA Red Diamonds. Cool. So there's possibly 3 teams from Australia to get into the Champions League, and they all fell at the first hurdle. And also, technically, we did. You can see there, the league table, we are in second place in the table. It's not too bad. Obviously, we have lost 3 matches, Adelaide, Wellington, Perth Glory. But we're still definitely in this fight, along with Newcastle Jets, actually, and maybe Sydney FC, possibly somewhat of an outsider, but they are still kind of in there as well. Wellington Phoenix leading the way, the team that we beat in the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup. It is a transfer window, however, we've got no money because I've moved a lot of things around into our wage budget. And the reason why I've done this is because if we sort here by when people's contracts expire, we have got some players who can kind of do with a new contract. I say some. We've got Samuel, who could do with a new contract. Some of these players here, their contracts are expiring within the next year. Quite a few players that I think we need to keep, like Zabala. Obviously, Pizza, we need to keep Pizza. We need to keep Jay Neve as well. He's only got a year left on his contract. So we need to start maybe putting some more money in certain places. So we've bumped up our wage budget, more so that we can afford more exciting people as well. Because I think our maximum wage we could pay somebody was about £4,500 a week. That's not going to get you anybody world class, is it? In fact, that's not going to get you anybody particularly good anywhere, is it? So anyway, let's jump forward then to the end of the transfer window. Let's see what we managed to do with all that wage budget and none of that transfer budget. We've sold Dejuan Richards. He has gone to Al Fayha in Saudi Arabia, and that's it. He's gone for a lot of money, 975, possibly going to £1.2 million. I believe we had a minimum fee release and they're locked in for him, so I just took the money, because I think the money was better than just losing him out for the minimum fee, which I think was about 1.3 million. There's some sell-ons and all sorts of things in that. So maybe in a few years' time, we're going to get a little bit extra cash from Richards going off to Saudi Arabia. But that's it. That is literally it. Thomas Kennel went out on loan in December. He's gone out on loan to Sunshine Coast Wanderers, but we've done nothing else. Oh, that's a lie. We also released a few players. So Henry Anoka has left the club on a permanent deal. He's left on a free. Edward Ince also going on a free, and Declan Warnes all going on a free. Kobe Griffiths left on a free earlier on in the season because he wasn't part of our registered squad. So yeah, we've moved a whole bunch of money around into our wage budget and then done absolutely nothing with it. It wasn't a particularly exciting January window, was it? Oh, speaking of the January window, we obviously played some more league games. I think we've played 2? Surely not. We must have played way more than 2. We've done okay. We've beaten MacArthur. We've lost to Western United, but beaten Central Coast Mariners and Melbourne City, which does mean that we are still in second place, but we're just 2 points behind Wellington Phoenix, joint on points with Newcastle Jets. Sydney FC are still kind of in that fight a little bit. I would love to win the double. Every year I want to win the double. If we don't win the league, it's not the end of the world, because we will still be qualifying for the Asian Champions League. The top 3, I believe, get Asian Champions League football. Is there a Europa League equivalent in Asia? I don't know. And a Europa Conference League equivalent in Asia? I feel like I should know this. So I've just written in Asian into the search bar, because that seems like the most logical thing to do. There is an Asian Confederation Cup. It seems to be played mostly by... So we're a South Asian zone, right? Surely we're a South Asian zone. We've got a Nepalese side. We've got Bhutan. We've got Muslim FC from Pakistan. And we've got a Sri Lankan side. I mean, I want to find... Is this a competition? I mean, Adelaide, Perth and MacArthur won. Okay, so this is an option. The Confederation Cup is an option. I could just click these buttons, couldn't I? So Asian Champions League, click that one. Takes you to the Confederation Cup. And that's it. And then it just takes you to the World Cup qualifiers. Okay, so there's only 2 continental competitions in Asia. It's taken me 4 seasons to work that one out. Something that is worth mentioning, I guess, is we've had a reasonable youth intake. We've got top talents and good talents. We've got Jackson Mullen first up. He's very, very fast, and he's not got much else going for him. He's got 4-star potential ability. This man kind of interests me, partially because he's from Fiji, but his name is William Chand, who is a central midfielder. Obviously, I'm already retraining him to be a defensive midfielder because I think that's probably where he might be better utilised, although he's got 5 tackling, so maybe he should be an attacking midfielder. He's got a bit of potential. Ito Mamur, another player who kind of interests me, mentally looks reasonable, very angry but also very brave. Technically got some good numbers in 2 positions, in heading and tackling, so as a centre-back he could be quite good. We've also got Alessandro Hawkins, who is never going to make it as a professional footballer. Ryan Marlowe, who I think could make it as a professional footballer, although he's apparently only got 3-star potential, so he might be kind of right near his actual top ability anyway. And Luke Halloway, also similar situation. He's got 1-star current, 3-star potential. He looks like he could get good if there was potential there. I feel like it might not be. So I will say this every single season, but I'm starting to get worried that we're not going to have enough quality players. Come season 6 and 7, we're going to be picking up the dregs of the last few youth intakes, and none of them are any good. We've not had anyone who's come through who's outstanding. We got very lucky with your Jack Masons and players like that, and I think we might struggle come season 6 or 7. Anyway, we've only got one competition to worry about now, and that is the A-League, the regular season, then obviously the final. So let's go forward, find out what happens in the regular season, and hopefully we can pick up another league title. It was close. It was real close. We are champions. We win it by 1 point. This is our worst season we've ever had, I believe. So season 1 was 58, 62, 60, and then 54 points. How close were we to losing it? So actually, why did I click that? There we go. So we actually did all right. The last 3 games, we drew 1 and won 2 of them. And then in second place, Newcastle Jets. How did they do in their last few games? Same deal. So literally that match there was basically what won us the league, where we beat Brisbane Roar in their own stadium. I say beat Brisbane Roar. We beat Newcastle Jets in their own stadium 5-3. And that has pretty much won us the league. In a match, by the way, where Jack Mason scores himself a hat-trick. Lovely. I didn't check this earlier, by the way, but Jack Mason has got 26 goals in the league alone, which is just ridiculous. I say in the league. He's got 26 in all competitions, 16 in the league. He's real good. He's really good. Shelford Lugo, 18 goals again, 13 of them coming in the league. We've got Pizza, who's got 13 assists, 3 goals to his name. And Jay Neve, in his debut season, he's getting better. He's still not very good, is he? Let's be honest. But he has got himself a couple of assists. And then he's obviously got that 1 goal in the Australia Cup. He's done all right. He's probably out of his depth. But the fact that we've still won the league with Jay Neve playing, I'm happy with that. That's good. And with Jay Neve playing, let's find out if we're going to also win the A-League finals as well. So we did win it, and it was pretty comfortable in the end. A 4-1 victory against Sydney FC. Goals from Waddingham, Mason, and Pizza even getting on the score sheet. They also had themselves, I say a penalty saved, I'm going to assume, because Shamalov, that's his name, Shalamanov, should know his name, he's my goalkeeper. Shalamanov Trenkov gets himself a 7.6, which is normally the sign of your goalkeeper's actually saved a penalty. So that's pretty good. Jack Mason scoring a brace as well. We have done the double for a 4th successive season. It is definitely the 4th successive season, right? So we are the past winners of the league, right? That's the regular season. And yeah, okay, we have won absolutely everything since we took over. And then in terms of players, Jack Mason's looking real good. How he has not been called up for the Australia side, or at least not got a cap for the Australia side, is absolutely just insanity. 30 goals in all competitions, 20 of them coming in the league system. That will be across the league and the finals. Shelford Lugo picking up just 1 extra goal in the finals, but getting 3 assists as well. So he's also really good. The fact that he's not really in the kind of the calling for actually starting for Australia as well was mad. Also, talking about wages earlier, Shelford Lugo is on £625 a week. There is a reason why the Australian League's a bit of a joke. Surely. This has to be it, right? I said that as if I know the Australian League's a joke. Is it? I feel like it kind of could be better. Like, these kind of little limitations of salary caps are fine when, like, the league is of a higher standard. You're intentionally just hamstringing your league. Anyway, it's enough talking about the Australian leagues of football. Pizza, how has he done this season? He's got 4 goals in all competitions. He actually got a goal in the finals and an assist in the finals. I say goal in the finals. We know he scored in the final. And Jay Neve also got an assist in the league finals as well. I feel like I should know. Did he get an assist in the final? He didn't, no, doesn't look like it. So it was Zabala, Lugo and Donald. Neve, in fact, got booked after 36 minutes and then probably subbed at half-time. 71st minute sub. So another successful season in the books. Next time around, Season 5 means we'll have to pick our 5th player to be starting. If we take a look at the squad very quickly, sort by names, we haven't put anyone in the squad just yet who should be able to qualify. Petrovic can only play 1 more season. If he is 22 at the start of the season, he is not allowed to be locked into the starting 11, so maybe Petrovic might be the man. Matty Barker also has himself an opportunity. If we quickly load up the B team and the youth team, we've got a lot of players on here who are technically eligible to play for us. I don't think too many of them are any good. Most of them are sort of 1.5, 2-star current ability. Mullen, has a nice high potential there, so maybe he's someone we want to look at. We've also got Chand, we've got Kennel, we've got Sutherland, and we've got Negri, who all seem to have reasonably high. We've also got Kang Jin Long, reasonably high. Mamur, Fleming, Johnson, and also Sherwood all have reasonably high potential, so maybe we need to have a look at some of those instead. But that's going to do it for Season 4. Season 5 is going to be a difficult one. Back in the Champions League once again. Are we going to win the double for the 5th successive season in a row? And I just want to do well in the Champions League. I feel like we've got, well, I say feel like we have got 6 seasons left to play, and the Champions League needs to be within our reach in those 6 seasons. So we're almost at the halfway point of our Brisbane Roar save. At the end of the season will technically be the halfway point. It means right now we have to pick our 5th player. And by right now this season we need to pick our 5th player that we are locking into our starting 11. Just a reminder, these are the players that we have currently locked in. So Pizza, Mason, Neve and Lugo. Lugo and Mason will not be able to play from Season 6 or not be able to be locked in from Season 6. It means that we can be tactical. And as long as we don't play somebody in the striker position, Mason will still be playing football. Lugo will still be playing if we don't pick an attacking midfielder. So we need to kind of be sensible. Whoever's going to replace Mason and replace Lugo in the starting 11 shouldn't be a striker and an attacking midfielder, okay? That's for the end of the season, start of next season. But it's something that we need to kind of keep an eye out. Obviously, we're going to need to do that at some point. So last time around, we did win the double for the 4th successive season. This time around, I would like to do the same thing. I say the double, we won the Australia Cup. So technically, we won the treble last year. I want to win the Asian Champions League. I will say this at the start of every single season. I want to win the Asian Champions League. And I feel like we're never going to do it because I'm doing the whole Youth Development Challenge part of this. If we were just building a team and not having to play players the quality of Jay Neve, I think we might be all right. Just for your information, this is Jay Neve if you haven't seen him before. So it is the start of a transfer window. Obviously, we've got just under £1 million to spend. We've got a fairly hefty wage budget. And I'm thinking free transfers from abroad might be the deals that we need to look at. We've got a limit of only 5 foreign players. So maybe we might need to move on some of our lesser quality foreign players. Or hope that some of them actually turn Australian, which is something that can happen after 5 seasons, I believe. In fact, yes, it can, and Emilio Lawrence has 36 days left before he can become Australian. You need to do that, buddy, because if you don't, you're probably going to get sold, because I don't think you're good enough to actually stay here using one of those foreign player slots. Right, we've jumped forward then to the 12th of September. We have done 3 transfers joining the club. Ryan Calms, 23 years of age, central defender formerly of Melbourne City, signed on a free transfer, comes in for a bit of depth, and also he's Australian, which is obviously something that we kind of need to make sure we'll keep signing Australians and not players from New Zealand. And we have gone big, and by big, we've brought in 2 brand new foreign players, and one of them is a new designated player, Ismail. Ahmed Ismail, that's probably his name, a 21-year-old Syrian international, 34 caps, 7 goals to his name, central midfielder, possibly defensive midfielder, possibly winger, possibly attacking midfielder. He can play anywhere, basically, in those positions. And luckily for us, we're playing 3 of those 4. Obviously, I'm not going to lock him in, but he should find himself somewhere to play. Lugo's still going to be playing there, so maybe he might be our right winger for the season. And this one's for the future, because our goalkeeper's not very good. But Versluis might be his name. The Dutch youngster, 4 under-21 caps signed from PSV, will be our number 1 goalkeeper in a couple of seasons' time, because I don't think Trenkov is good enough. But if we do a very quick comparison, where is his name? It is Shamalov Trenkov. There's not too dissimilar values, but there's actually potential in Versluis. So I think we're going to go with Versluis. We might lock him in. We might actually have to do this, and he's not going to count towards our 5 players that we lock in. Oh, and Versluis, by the way, has cost £475,000. It's a lot of money, but if there's any position you're going to spend money on, a goalkeeper's probably the one to do. And you might be thinking, hold on, didn't you have a bunch of players who are foreign who now can't technically be registered because you've got 2 new foreign players? That is true. Emilio Lawrence was one of them. He has now become Australian, which is very good. The other one actually left the club in January last season, and we just didn't replace him. Which was Dujon Richards, by the way, just in case you forgot. We have also done a bit of a release spree. In fact, we've released 3 players. Rafael Leai, one of them, he just wasn't playing for us, really. He has left the club. Ayon Majok, another player, he's been here since the start of the save. Did get a lot of football in the first few seasons, but he's just not seen anything of the first team for a very long time. And George Plusnin, just not very good, is he? And you've probably already seen this, because I did show you the squad screen earlier, and he was already locked in. But we are locking in Kresimir Petrovic into that midfield role. I did have a long think about who we actually put in. Petrovic is just the obvious choice. He probably should have been put in last season. He can only be locked in for one season, okay? So this is his only chance. We don't really have too many players outside of the ones we've picked. We've got a couple who might be able to make the cut, but Petrovic is basically the best of the bunch. Let's have a quick look then. So season 1 was Jack Mason, still very good, still eligible to be picked in our starting 11. 72 league goals in all competitions. In season 2, it was Pizza, and he is looking pretty good as well. I mean, I say looking pretty good. He's all right. He's definitely a centre-back, isn't he? He's not a left-back, but we've basically forced him to be there, and that's his life now. Season 3 was Shelford Lugo, much like Jack Mason, is not going to be able to be locked in season 6. So Lugo's last season locked into the starting 11 at the very least will be happening now, and he's already scored twice in the Australia Cup. Last season was Jay Neve, and he is arguably the worst player that we have locked into our starting 11 at the moment. He did all right last season. He did okay, 28 league appearances. I think he got 3 or 4 assists as well. So he's fine. He's probably not going to be playing too many matches once he basically turns 21. In fact, we'll probably sell him immediately once he can no longer be registered. And then obviously we've just seen him, but it is Kresimir Petrovic, who will be our 5th player for this season. The next season, we can't play Mason and we can't play Lugo, but we should still be able to play Neve, Pizza and Petrovic. So we're going to have to look over the summer, I say summer, as if we have a choice. We're going to have to hope that we get 2 good players come in through our youth intake, or we're going to have to scour our team for 2 players who will be eligible for season 6. But that's not a problem right now. What is a problem is we have been knocked out of the Australia Cup by Newcastle Jets. So we've won it back to back and then get knocked out in the second round. So the first round, we win 5-0 against Melbourne Knights, by the way, who I think were good, but not. Why did I think... I thought they were... We beat them 5-0. I feel like we should have beaten them by more. And then we lose to Newcastle Jets. So, yes, not a good season so far. In the Asian Champions League, we've been given another group of death. We've got Guangzhou of China, Kashmir of Japan, and Selangor of Malaysia. I think, obviously, they are probably the weakest side, but they're also probably the best team in Malaysia. So, I feel like we're getting knocked out of the Champions League as well. Could be a very, very long season for our Brisbane Roar side this time around. Right, we are going to jump forward then to around the early week, first week or so of January, see how well things go for the first part of the season. I'd love to still be in the Champions League. That would be nice. As if it was in any doubt, I knew we would just fly through this group. Apparently, we've got positive 21 goal difference, but also Selangor have minus 27 goal difference, so I imagine they've just been battered by us a few times. Yep, they've lost 16-0 on aggregate to us. That would explain why our goal difference is so good. We've also got 4 wins against Guangzhou, 2 against Guangzhou, which is surprising, and then obviously 2 draws against Kashima. So I'm happy with this. The fact that we've got through, we are up against Sydney FC, which I feel like is not fair, because that means an Australian side will be getting knocked out in this round. But the fact that Sydney FC managed to get through is also pretty good, and Newcastle Jets have got through. So last season, if I remember correctly, no Australian sides made it to the group stage apart from us, and we got knocked out in the group stage. Now 3 teams have made it to the group stage and made it through the group stage as well. When it comes to the league, we're also doing okay, and by okay, we are top of the table, joint on points with Perth Glory, 7 wins apiece, 2 defeats apiece. And frustratingly for us, our 2 defeats have been up against Perth Glory, and for them, they have lost against us once, but also against Wellington Phoenix. So Perth Glory are one of the sides that we play thrice per season. I don't know whether that's based on location, because let's say you're Wellington Phoenix, that's the one in New Zealand, you're more likely to play the Sydney-based sides 3 times per season, because there's a lot of distance to travel to whatever the other one is, the other side of the country. Is it Adelaide? I can't remember. Anyway, transfer window is wide open. We've got 559,000 to spend. Spoiler, we're probably not going to spend any of it. In fact, I feel like the nearly £500,000 that we spent on a backup goalkeeper for this season, probably the most money we're ever going to spend with this team, because the money just doesn't really turn up. And when it does, it's not going to go far enough. Spoiler alert, nothing happened. We've sold a man to Brisbane City. His name is Magu Dabele. He's real and currently plays for Brisbane Roar. He's moved over to Brisbane City on a free transfer. That's it. Literally nothing else has happened, because we don't really have the money or the pulling power to really do any business during the January transfer window. What has happened is we've been absolutely appalling in January. We have dropped down to 2nd place. Perth Glory now top the table, 2 points clear. We are joint with Sydney, and it is because we have lost a lot of football. We've played a lot of football, actually. So we've won 4 in a row, which was amazing. And then we draw, and then we lose 3 in a row. So things have not really gone our way over January. It started off really good, didn't it? And then, yeah, just kind of went a bit wrong. Jane Eve scored a goal. That's nice to see. Speaking of players then, so in order of season where they were picked, Jack Mason, so far, 19 appearances, 12 goals to his name. We then have Shelford Lugo, Pizza, wasn't it? Pizza was second. How's he doing? He's got 1 goal and 4 assists to his name across all competitions. Then it was Lugo. Lugo is doing reasonably well, 9 and 6. Arguably, I'd like to see a few more goals from Lugo. He has an injury. What was his injury? It just says injured. Torn hamstring. That's probably not a good thing. Jane Eve, as we know, has scored a goal. In fact, he scored 2 goals and does need a new contract. He is out of contract in just 4 months. Do we do it? Do we even bother? Do we just let him leave? It might be a risk. And then Petrovic in his debut season in breaking into the squad, by the way. He played a few matches before actually being locked in, but he's doing okay for a central midfielder or a defensive midfielder. 3 goals, 4 assists to his name. What I was saying about Neve, by the way, it could be a risk is because we need to have 5 players locked in who are eligible at the start of next season, and Neve would be. And I think if we sell him, we'll lose him, Lugo and Mason. We're going to be down to the bare bones for season 6. I do it every time as well, by the way. I forget to mention the fact that we get youth intakes, and this one was a good one. The fact that I forgot to tell you about a good youth intake is just ridiculous. We're going to start from the bottom. Michael Miller, first up, he's rubbish. I've not even put a star next to his name. We have Nicola Bassetto, he's rubbish. I've put a star next to his name because we might need a goalkeeper one day. So yeah, Bassetto is there. We've also got Tremaine Clolo, might be his name. He's rubbish, he's fast. I don't think there's too much else. Maybe we need to kind of consider him. And then we get 3 players who are elite talents. Gabriel Wand, he's fast. But because he's an elite talent, I'm putting a star next to his name. We have Charlie Bright. Charlie Bright has a bright future, pun intended. 16 years old. Central defender, left back and right back from New Zealand. Is he part Australian? Yes, he is. That's very good. Otherwise, he's going to count as a foreigner, and we don't want that to happen. I think Charlie Bright could be getting football next season. He might be locked in as maybe a right back for season 6 at just 16 years old, although he will be 17 in about a month and a bit's time. And the other player who also might be getting locked into the starting 11 next season is Owen Apap, Maltese youngster, central midfielder, maybe attacking midfielder, arguably defensively. It's probably where his head will most likely be with this 12 tackling. Is he part Australian? Good. It would have been awful if he wasn't part Australian. I would have to sacrifice somebody who was a foreigner just to play Owen Apap because I feel like he's got something. 5-star potential, 2-star current ability. We might have just been saved by this youth intake. I'd like to point out as well, Season 5, this is my head of youth intake. He's been here since day 1. It's Robbie Cruz, who's a real person, real player. I played a lot in Germany, didn't he? Yeah, so he played for Dusseldorf, Bayer and VfB Stuttgart, so he's actually kind of a well-known person. Actually a bit more of VfL Bochum. Apparently, he's not awful. I did try and replace him in Season 1. Not Season 1, Season 2 or 3. And they went, no, we're not doing it. It's going to cost too much to get rid of him. So, yeah, Robbie's here for life, apparently. So anyway, that's good, right? We've got ourselves a good youth intake, which is the first time in probably 4 seasons that's happened. Now, all we need to do is turn around our league form, because we've lost the last 3 matches, jump back up to the top of the table, win the league, and then win the finals as well. And all is right with the world. All is most definitely right with the world. I don't think we lost a game between the last point and now. I think we won absolutely everything. We've got 5 defeats, which I'm pretty sure is where we were. We have 1 draw, which I'm pretty sure is what we had. And we now have 20 victories across the season, 61 points, winning the league by a total of 8 points, 6 points, 8 points. It's 8 points. That's how numbers work. But it does not stop there, because I kind of forgot this was a thing. We've made it to the Champions League final. Genuinely, as I recorded that last part, I talked a lot about the youth players, and I kind of briefly mentioned we've got Sydney, and that was it, didn't I? I just kind of brushed over the Champions League. It's a thing that I want to win. We beat Sydney 5-1 on aggregate. We then go to the quarterfinal, beat Uwara Red Diamonds 3-1 on aggregate. In the semis, we squeak past Ulsan 7-4. I say squeak past, we drew 3-3, but we also absolutely smashed them in one of the matches, actually the match away from home, which means we set up a final against Al Duhail of Qatar. And if we have a look at some of their players in their squad, their lowest paid player is our highest paid player, and he's ridiculous. He's 18 years old and he's ridiculous. We're going to get smashed, right? especially considering this is literally his competition. Can I just do this for a second? It was that guy, wasn't it? It's not even a fair fight. It's not a fair fight. Mentally, they're not similar at all. What am I on about? We've got Ibrahim Mahmoud has 20 determination. Jay Neve's got 5. He gets fed up opening a packet of crisps. Oh, well, I mean, the fact that we won the league is good. The fact that we're in the Champions League final is good. The fact that we're playing against a team who is quite clearly better than us, it's not good. It's not good at all, but we're there. There is an outside chance. There is a slim chance that we could win the Asian Champions League. We've got to the final. That was something I was not expecting. And at this point, I would normally take a look at the players, but we're actually going to jump forward to the end of the season first, see how well things go. Obviously, we've got the finals and the Champions League final. Let's see what happens. First of all, we've been knocked out of the A-League finals at the semi-final position after losing to Melbourne Victory. A 4-4 draw at home for us, but they did win 3-2, I believe, if maths works out properly, at their place, which means we do get knocked out at finals, which, by the way, was won by Melbourne Victory. But what happened in the Champions League, you may ask? We also lost that too, because apparently it's 2 legs. It's a 2-legged affair. I don't know why it's a 2-legged affair, but if we have a look here. So, leg 1, we lose 2-1. Jack Mason did get the goal for us, but then leg 2, back at our place, it was a 1-1 draw. Waddingham with a penalty in the 89th minute, but Campagna with the goal, which ultimately wins the Champions League for Al Duhail. We got close. Does this mean that we qualify for the Club World Cup? I'm assuming probably not, let's be honest. Is it the Club World Championship? Surely this is the one. So how do we know who qualifies for it? Can we look at last season? Who was in last season's? Can I see all groups? Is that an option? All groups. So we've got teams that technically we should be there instead of. So we've got a Saudi Arabian side, we've got an Iranian side, and we've got another Saudi Arabian side. It's possible that we could make it into this. Maybe. We've also got a Korean side. We should be in the Club World Championships. I don't know, but I feel like we should be in the Club World Championships. Although I have just seen that it happens like every 4 years, doesn't it? So 2025, 2029, which means the next one will be 2033. And it will probably be the winner of the Asian Champions League every single season. Because we didn't win it, it won't be us. Balls. Anyway, then, before we end this season, let's have a quick look at the 5 players that we did have locked in. 24 goals scored by Jack Mason this season in his last season, locked into the starting 11. He's done us very proud. 134 appearances and 86 goals to his name. Pizza, who will still be in the starting 11 next season unless we decide to do something absolutely radical, has managed to get 2 goals and 11 assists this season. Shelford Lugo, who will not be in the starting 11 next time around either, 17 goals and 17 assists. He's done very good for just, 2 or 3 seasons. He is unhappy. I assume it is this contract, yeah. You're on £600 a week, mate. I completely agree with you. Jay Neve, who is still able to be locked into the starting 11 next season, assuming he does have himself a contract, has done okay. A couple of goals, one assist as well to his name. He's done all right. He's arguably not getting better. I feel like he has improved, certainly, but I don't think he's improved enough to really justify me trying to keep him in the starting 11 once he gets older than 21. And the final player is Krasimir Petrovic. Obviously, this was his first season locked into the starting 11, and his last season. Didn't realise he was going to be 22 at the start of the season. So, Petrovic, he got 6 assists, just 3 goals to his name. We do also need to give him a new contract if we want to keep him around. Next season is certainly going to be interesting. So, we are literally going to be losing those 3 players. We need to pick 3 players from the options that we have. Matty Barker is the only one eligible in the starting 11. I say starting 11 in the first team. Do we lock Barker in? It's an option. We can then also drop down to the B team and the youth team. We've got a lot of players here, up to all of those players, but none of them, not a single one, is greater than 2-star. Is it a PAP? I feel like a PAP might need to be moved up. We're going to go based on potential ability here. These might be the options. Those ones could be the ones getting promoted, and we need to pick 3 of them. Arguably, Ethan Johnson's a waste of time because you're 21. I'm thinking Charlie Bright. Nice looking right back, maybe a centre back. I'm also thinking Owen Apap. It's a risk because he's not very good at the moment. 16 years of age. Maltese central midfielder will be dropping into that defence midfield, basically replacing Petrovic. And then the final place, I'm not quite sure. I'm leaning towards Mamur. I think Mamur is probably the most rounded of these players, but I don't know whether he's good enough to play him. We'll be basically locking in our back four. Well, we'd have Pizza, Neve, Mamur, and Bright as our back four. Is that a good idea? That sounds like a terrible idea. Anyway, that is next season's worry for me to try and sort out, because right now, I have no idea what we're going to do. It's been okay. It's been reasonably successful. Just the one trophy, but getting to a Champions League final. That is progress. That is certainly looking promising that something could happen in the Champions League. We've got 5 more seasons to actually win the thing. With our Brisbane Roar side, we have won the A-League in Australia 5 times in a row. We have won the A-League finals 4 times in a row and then lost last season. In fact, Melbourne Victory managed to beat Central Coast Mariners in the final. We have also managed to win the Australia Cup twice. And just last season, we were runners-up in the Asian Champions League. It is Season 6 of our Youth Development Challenge save with Brisbane Roar. 10 seasons will be played in total. And because it is Season 6, we need to make sure we have just 5 players who have come through our youth intakes into our starting 11. The problem is, a lot of the players that we had over the last few seasons are now probably too old. And by probably, I mean they are definitely too old. Jack Mason, who was our number 1 pick in Season 1, is now 22 years of age, which means he cannot be in our starting 11. Shelva Lugo also cannot be picked for our starting 11. He was the man to join our squad in Season 3. And just last year, Kresimir Petrovic joined the starting 11, and that's going to be his only season that he's able to play for us as a locked-in player. I do say as a locked-in player because they can still get game time. We just can't lock them in. They're not going to count towards our 5 players that we need to make sure that we have locked into our starting 11. What 5 players will we be playing, however? First of all, Gianni Pizza Miglioni does keep his position in the squad as a left-back. At 21 years of age, this will be his last season playing as a left-back for us, but he is still here for now. And Jay Neve, who came into the squad in Season 4, will be also playing his last season locked in, and I feel like this might be his last season ever playing for us. He has improved quite considerably, though, over the last 2 seasons. I think when we looked at him when he first joined, he was absolutely garbage. Also, his contract is up in 11 days, so he might not be here. I need to decide whether we're going to actually extend that or not. And I'm not going to tell you who the other 3 players joining our starting 11 are at the moment. I will tell you once the transfer window closes. We have £2.1 million to spend in the summer/winter transfer window, whatever hemisphere you're on. I guess because we're in the southern hemisphere, it's the winter transfer window. So we'll see what business we can actually do. It's a lot of money. The problem is we need to make sure that we're bringing in players who are arguably not designated, but also not foreign. It's not going to go far, is it? First of all, we say goodbye to a couple of long-standing players. Andrea Calsagno, who technically came through our youth intake before we actually joined the club in Season 1, I believe. He has moved over to Al Qadsiya in, I'm going to say Saudi Arabia. Of course it's Saudi Arabia. For £350,000. It's not a lot of money. He was out of contract at the end of this season. And basically, he wasn't worth much because everyone in Australia is paid literally a packet of crisps for their salary. He was on like £800 a week, I assume. Basically, we could not really justify charging any much bigger fee than what we actually got for him. And another player to leave, and a player that I really did not want to lose, but I feel like now was the time. Rafael Struik has moved over to Roda JC in the 2nd division in the Netherlands, which shows basically the quality of footballers that we have versus the quality of footballers there are in the rest of like the world and Europe in particular. He's really good. He was one of our best players, and he's playing in the 2nd division in the Netherlands. He's gone for £500,000, possibly going up to 575. I think we've got sell-ons in there for Calsagno and Struik as well. 4 players have joined the club, and I think we've done some good business. And by think, almost certain we've done some good business. Lawson Colbrand, first up. He's a 22-year-old Englishman signed from Wollongong Wolves, which means, yes, he is part Australian. He was born in England, in Oxford, but he does count as an Australian footballer, which is lovely to see. He's come in for kind of a bit more depth, because obviously we don't have to lock in. I say don't have to. We can't lock in Jack Mason this season, which means we do need to have a backup striker. Mason's not going to play every single game of the season, assuming we don't lock in another striker up front instead. We've also brought in 22-year-old Australian central midfielder Andrew Leonard. 17 caps, 4 goals to his name, just 22 years of age, signed from Central Coast Mariners on a free transfer as well. He's not a designated player. He's Australian. Everything about this man has pleased me to sign him. The worrying thing, obviously, he's an attacking midfielder by trade, which means maybe Lugo might not be getting a huge amount of football if Leonard is the man to basically just take that position away from him. And another player who is utterly ridiculous, and I feel bad for Jack Mason, is Patipat Salih, who is a Thai international striker who's just utterly ridiculous in my eyes. Signed from BG Pantham United, 57 caps, 27 goals, still a little baby boy at just 22 years of age, 16 finishing, 16 first touch, 16 passing, 16 technique. This boy is ridiculous. To sign on a free transfer, he's probably going to be here for about 2 seasons, if that. And you've probably spotted his wages. Yes, he's getting paid probably more than the rest of our entire squad combined. And the final player that we have signed is David Collier, a 22-year-old at New Zealand international central defender, 18 caps, 1 goal to his name, signed from Western United in, obviously, the A-League. The problem is, you might have spotted this, he plays for Wellington Phoenix, and that is because he's not Australian, and therefore he counts as a foreign footballer, and we couldn't register him in time. And by couldn't, I decided, let's sacrifice Collier, because Salih has come in, and Salih is a much, much better use of a foreign position and registration place in our squad. So Collier joined, and then he was here for a few months. I don't even know. Like, he doesn't even count that he left the club. I think released. He's not there. He never joined. He never joined. He was here for so minimal amount of time. Like, he just kind of arrived and left. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand. So I think I said that I released him because he was a foreign player. That wasn't the reason why. It's because we are literally £70 away from the actual squad salary. I say £70, it's not. It's £570 away from our the squad salary. That's what it is. And he was getting paid way more than that. I needed to sacrifice somebody. And I thought, if we're sacrificing somebody, let's get rid of somebody who's also foreign, which means that we do have a chance to bring in somebody else who can basically kind of be useful somewhere else on the pitch. There was logic. There was logic in my head at the time. It might not have been the best plan, okay? Anyway, should we talk about the 3 other players that have joined the starting 11? They have been locked in since day 1 of this season. First of all, on the left wing, it will be Matty Barker, 20 years old, England under-19 international, obviously came through our youth intake. He's played 10 times for us, so he actually played 8 times last season. He's not amazing. This is probably the worst of the players that we've managed to put into the squad. Because he's 20, he's only got 3-star potential ability as well. I don't think he's going to get too much better than this. We're just going to have to ride this season out, I think, with Matty Barker. However, the other 2, I think, are going to be good. Number 1 is Maltese international Owen Apap, 16 years old, 2 caps to his name, going to be slotting in that defensive midfield role for the season. He's got 4.5-star potential. I'm kind of trying to roll the dice on players that, whilst he's not amazing now, he's kind of okay now. I'm hoping that 4.5-star potential is legit and real, and by the time he's 21, he's actually going to be a really good footballer. And a very similar situation is Charlie Bright, the 17-year-old central defender from New Zealand and also Australia, will be locked in that defensive position alongside Pizza. But we've also got another player that we're locking into the starting 11. And don't worry, this is our 6th player. I'm locking him in for a reason. I'll tell you why. It is the Dutch goalkeeper, Arsenio Versluis, which I'm sure is not quite how his name would be said at all. But we are locking him in to the starting 11 because basically he's not our number 1 goalkeeper. If we actually look by our scout rating, it is Shamalama Trenkov, or whatever his name is. He's our number 1, quite clearly our number 1. However, he's only got a year left on his deal. I don't think we're going to give him a new one, and I don't think Versluis is good enough to take over at the moment. So we're going to give him a full season, and hopefully he can develop as well. So this year we've got 6 players locked into our starting 11. And this is how it is going to look. We have locked in 4 of the 5 defensive positions. Technically, if you include the defence midfielders, that is 5 of the 7 defensive positions, and Matty Barker. I have been very, very sensible when it comes to locking in attacking players because we haven't locked in a striker, which means Salih, Mason, Lugo, they can all play up front if they want to. Attack midfielder, Salih, Ismail, Leonard, Lugo can all play there. Even Emilio Lawrence can play there. On the right-hand side, we've got Salih, Mason, Ismail, Lawrence, Molinas. It's quite a lot of the same names. They can all rotate in those positions. In central midfield, Pizza can play as a defensive midfielder. I didn't want to do that. Pizza apparently can play that. We've got Ismail, Donald, Girdwich, Reich and Knoll, who can also play on that defence midfield position. So obviously at the start of September, the Asian Champions League matches get drawn, and our group will be up against Vissel Kobe, Ulsan and Yangon United. And Yangon United, you might ask, where are they from? They are from Myanmar. They are going to get absolutely battered. And when we're talking about battering teams, I want to show you our pre-season friendlies. We win comfortably most of the time. 11-0 there, a 15-1, a 12-0, two 12-0s in a row. Salih, you might have spotted this earlier, has scored 28 goals and 7 appearances in friendlies. I hope he does that in the league. I feel like he might not. Anyway, we're now going to jump forward to the start of the January transfer window. Obviously, half of the season will have been played. I'd like to be top of the table, obviously. We should be good enough to win the league every single season from this point on. However, I'm worried we might not. Right then, on the 8th of January, we currently find ourselves second place in the table, but we have scored 27 goals, so Salih might be scoring a lot of those goals. We are 3 points behind Central Coast Mariners, who seem to be doing really, really well this season. The thing is, we're also doing really well because we have won the Australian Cup 5-1 against Sydney FC. And in the Asian Champions League, we have finished top of Group J, topping Ulsan, Kobe and Yangon United. And you can see with our positive 24 goal difference and Yangon United's minus 27, we absolutely smashed them quite a few times. We beat them 7-1 and 9-0. They drew. They did get a draw against Vissel Kobe. We obviously won 5 matches, beating Yangon twice, beating Ulsan twice, and beating Kobe 4-0 as well. Meaning we go through top of the table. And in the next round, we get to play one of the other Australian sides to make it through the group stage. Melbourne Victory. Sydney FC will be playing Beijing of China. So it is a transfer window. Obviously, at the end of last transfer window, we did have to kind of do all some squad registration things, and some players have left the club on permanent deals after getting released. So Kang Jinlong is one of those players, a player who I kind of thought might be good. Ethan Johnson, another one who could be good. In fact, I think he might get good. I might regret this one, but he is 21 now, so maybe it's not too much of a problem. Jaden Tucker also left the club. He did join us from Melbourne Victory, and Ashley Phillips has also moved on, joining from Brisbane Strikers, but didn't really kick a ball for us. We do have £2.8 million to spend in this January transfer window, but we are well over our wage budget, obviously, because if we have a look at our squad and sort by wages, we've got Salih, who's on £25,000 a week, and we've got Ismail, who's on £13,500 a week. Ismail is wanted. He is wanted by lots and lots of teams in Saudi Arabia. He's not worth a huge amount of money, though. This is the problem. I say it's the problem. It's one of many problems. Players in Australia don't hold their value. If this guy was playing in the Premier League, he'd be worth 20, 30, 40 million pounds. He's worth not even £1 million on the low end of the budget. So if we goes, we're getting £1 million, maybe 1.2, 1.3 million, which we're not going to be able to reinvest. I do want to point out as well, Salih's got 21 goals so far in the season. Jack Mason, coming off the bench predominantly, but has scored 11. We've got Matty Barker on 9 and 9 assists. Pizza, he's up there as well. He's got 3 goals and 5 assists. Owen Pap's got 2 and 3 assists. Jay Neve has a couple of goals. Charlie Bright has 1 goal and 9 assists to his name. So we're doing good. Obviously, second in the table. It's not amazing. Could do a little bit better than that, but we are scoring a fair amount of goals, conceding a lot, which could be the problem. But we do basically have a somewhat inexperienced bunch of defenders and goalkeeper playing. Right, let's jump forward then to the end of the transfer window, see what business has taken place. In a surprise to nobody, we haven't brought anybody to the club, but Lautaro Molinas has left the club. He has moved over back to Argentina, signing for Rosario Central for going for basically £500,000, potentially a little bit more, but £500,000 is probably what we can expect. And what that means from a squad perspective, in fact, we've got all of our youth players and no one from the first team there. We have only got 3 foreign players currently in our squad, which means in the summer, we can bring in 2 non-Australian footballers to hopefully do some good business. If we end up losing one of our 2 foreign players that we currently have, actually 2 foreign, one of our designated players as well, that could be quite good in a way because it means we can reinvest that money, blah, 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 blah. You know the deal. Competition-wise, we have moved to the top of the A-League, so we've played a few more matches. In fact, we played 4 matches and won every single one of them, beating Perth Glory, Central Coast Mariners, Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City FC as well, and pretty comfortably for the most part. The only one was a bit of a question was obviously the Perth Glory game, but we are back to the top of the table. And we have obviously had ourselves a youth intake, which took place in October time. We've got 5 players who have joined the club, and I want to point out, I don't know whether these names are kind of accurate of Australians, but they're silly, okay? Bon Doran. Not Ben, Bon Doran is the first up. 16-year-old left back. Looks okay, not anything too special. Probably not likely to get locked into the starting 11. Similar to Kodai Kabuto, who I believe is actually part Japanese. He's not part Japanese. He was just born there. Fair enough. I'm not sure how that works. He looks maybe okay. This is probably as good as what Jane Eve was at the start when we locked him in. I feel like Kabuto probably not going to get much better than what he currently is. On to silly name number 2. We've got Ben Shepherd. Doesn't sound too silly. 2 N's for some reason. Don't know why. I've got some high hopes for Ben. And so do my coaches with a 4.5 star potential ability. Attacker midfielder. Maybe a right winger. Obviously, do we really want to be playing Ben Shepherd when we've got players of Lugo's quality, when we've got Sully, we've got, I've already forgotten his name, the other non-Australian guy that we've got on our squad. Maybe Ben might get a look in a couple of seasons' time. Similar situation as well is Chris Draper, or Krios Draper. Why? What? 3 silly names, okay? Just Chris. Chris Draper's fine. What's Krios? I don't know. Anyway, the 16-year-old winger and striker, I think might be getting into the squad next season. I think we're losing. I'm going to say Pizza is off during the. I say he's off. He's not leaving, but he's not going to be able to be locked in for next season. Draper might be the man to take that slot. Obviously, he's going to end up playing on that left wing. Barker is currently on that left wing. Maybe we need to look at somebody else. If there's a possible option, we drop Barker as well. And finally, we've got 16-year-old Jaden Rhodes, who's a centre-back and a central midfielder. I think he's probably more of a centre-back, 1-star current ability, 4-star potential. I think he could get good. Obviously, when you look at the top talents, he is the top of the top. They say the star graduate's actually Krios Draper, but they've both got 4-star potential ability. So I think we've had a good youth intake. It doesn't sound like it's a good one because there's only 5 players that we've actually taken from it. But these can be 5 players that I think 4, maybe 5, Bond, let's say Bond could get a game as well, could be good enough to play for us. Anyway, the next thing we need to do is jump to the end of the season. Can we retain our position at the top of the table? Can we retain our title as well for the 5th successive season? So far, it is looking pretty promising, so let's see what happens. Also, we have got quite a lot of Champions League to play. We do have to play against Melbourne Victory. I feel like we could get to another final again. And there it is, once again, champions of Australia, this time 21 points clear of second place Central Coast Mariners. That's ridiculous. Last season, it was a fairly sizable margin. This season, it is even bigger. 2 defeats all season. Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory. 5 draws as well, so MacArthur actually taking 4 points off of us, Sydney FC, Western Sydney Wanderers and Newcastle Jets with the draws, and then obviously lots and lots of victories. A 7-2 win against Wellington Phoenix. 68 goals scored. I wonder how many were scored by Sally. So let's take a look. Senior squad. Sally's got 27. Mason's got 24. Ismail's got 16. Waddingham has got 15. Barker's got 14. 12 as well for Lugo. We're obviously going to come have a look at these in just a moment. Well, I say in a moment, once we've done the finals. But the fact that we've got 5-6 players who have scored double figures, and 2 players that have scored 20, and 1 player that scored nearly 30 goals. That's just ridiculous. And do you know what else is ridiculous? We are in a 2nd successive Champions League final. This time, Al Ittihad are our opponents. So Al Ittihad from Saudi Arabia. Are they good? It's literally a rhetorical question at this point. Of course they're good. I'm going to click on this 17-year-old, and he's going to be amazing. He's not amazing. Okay, it's promising because he's playing for them. But they've also got Gonzalo Borges, who's ridiculous. They've got Santiago Jimenez, who's ridiculous. I feel like you can see where this is going. Even Aldasari, was that the one I looked at? Aldasari I did not look at. He's good for a 17-year-old Saudi. I feel like it's more of the same, isn't it? I feel like we're just going to lose. Even this 15-year-old probably good enough to play for us. Anyway then, let's jump forward. Find out what happens in the finals and find out also what happens in the 2-legged affair of the Asian Champions League. We have fallen at the first hurdle in the finals, losing to Newcastle Jets 4-3 on aggregate. Does that mean, obviously this happened, this happened last season as well, didn't it? Last season, in the A-League finals, we just lost. First match, we just lost, we got knocked out, and I'm thinking, maybe this time around, we've learned from our mistakes, we've lost that, but we're going to put all of our energy into the Champions League final, the 2-legged affair against Al Ittihad. And we've lost that as well. Yeah, we've lost 7-1 on aggregate. We lost 5-0. We got absolutely smashed 5-0 in the first leg. First Louis gets a 6.5. Noel, who's a 23-year-old, he's playing a lot of football. Noel plays absolutely appalling. Matty Barker, a 5.8. Sally gets a 5.8 as well. Why did you do so badly? Because you missed a penalty or goal disallowed? Why were you so bad? I mean, that's frustrating because you are clearly our best player. The second leg was slightly better. Sally did manage to get a goal in this one. Pizza with the assist and an 8.2 rating. But ultimately, we have lost back-to-back Asian Champions League finals. Al Duhail last season of Qatar. Al Ittihad this season of Saudi Arabia. Are we going to make it 3 for 3 in Season 7? Last thing I want to do then, take a look at all the players that we locked in. So obviously, Versalobi does not count as our 5 youth players that we needed to play because he's, first of all, not a youth player, but I needed to get him some first-team football. He's getting better. I think he's probably good enough to be our number 1 next season. That's good. Starting off then in right back, Charlie Bright. Lots of assists, 14 in total, just the 1 goal to his name in the Asian Champions League. He's all right. He's still only 18, still got plenty of time to develop and improve. We've got Jay Neve, who will not be locked into the starting 11 next season. He's all right. Considering where he started, I feel like we've kind of eked out a reasonable footballer out of Jay Neve, and that was kind of the goal. I didn't think he was going to be amazing, but we've got kind of a half-decent footballer there. Pizza also will not be able to play for us, and he's okay, isn't he? He's not amazing. Let's face it, he's not amazing. But his name is Gianni Pizza Miglione, so I'm kind of like that. It's also Pizza Miglio. It's not even Miglione. I'm just making him extra Italian. Pizza did manage to get 12 assists in all competitions. Also got himself 6 goals, 3 of them coming in the Champions League. I assume most of them against the team from Myanmar. Owen Apap, I think is probably the player that I've got the highest hopes for of this current 5-player batch. At 17, he's managed to get a goal as well for the Maltese national side, playing obviously every single game for us. 44 games he's played in all competitions, 3 goals, 4 assists, all 3 goals coming in the regular season. Did get an assist in the Champions League. I think he's okay. He's got the mental and physical numbers. He just needs the technicals. And at 17, he's probably going to be playing every single game up until Season 9, maybe even Season 10. And finally, Matty Barker, who I believe is still eligible to play next season. Even though he's 21 now, he's only just turned 21. I don't think he's had a particularly... I mean, he's not had a bad season, let's be honest. 15 goals, 15 assists is actually a very good turnaround. However, at 21, I feel like he's not the one, is he? I don't think he's the one for us. So maybe next season, Barker needs to get dropped. Obviously, next season, we only need to play 5 of these players. Pizza will be gone. Jay Neve will be gone. So 2 new players will be joining. I have already called up Ben. I have called up Krios Draper. Maybe. We've also got Marlowe as well. So we've got 3 options there. Marlowe is the worst of the 3. Where would he be? A left back? Maybe. That's what we're going to do. We've got Draper. Obviously, we saw him not too long ago. He would most likely be a striker or left winger. And then Ben will probably be an attacking midfielder or right winger. We've also got the question marks over players like Ismail, who is wanted by teams in Saudi Arabia. We've got Salih, who is wanted as well by teams in Saudi Arabia. We might lose our 2 talisman in the squad over the summer, which could be a bit of a worry. Although, is it? If we lose one of them, particularly if we lose Salih, it just means Jack Mason's going to walk straight back into the starting 11, I assume. Season 6 is in the bag, then 2 further trophies to join the cabinet, the Australia Cup and the regular season. Once again, another silver medal as well from the Asian Champions League. Are we going to do this? We've got season 7, 8, 9 and 10 to go. Are we going to be able to win the Asian Champions League? I feel like we're good enough. If we're getting to the final, we must be knocking out decent sides from nations like Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, I'm doing this wrong. I feel like I should have done so. We beat Port from Thailand. We beat Sydney FC. We did get an easy run, didn't we? We beat Melbourne Victory. We beat Sydney. We beat Port. And then we lost to Al Ittihad. If we just avoid all the big clubs on our way to the final, we should be good enough to win it. We will still get a big club in the final, though. That's going to do it for Season 6. Season 7, we go again. It is Season 7 of our Brisbane Roar Youth Development Challenge Save, and obviously in Season 7 we'll be picking 5 players who have come through our youth intakes over the last few seasons to make sure they are locked into the starting 11. And if we take a look at our squad, in fact let's take a look at our tactics from last season, these are the players that we had locked in, and unfortunately Jay Neve is now too old. He is 22 years of age, so Jay Neve will be removed, along with Gianni Pizza Miglione, who has been with the club since the start of the save as well. It means that we are only having in, at the moment, Charlie Bright locked in as our right back, 18 years of age now. We've also got Owen Apap, the Maltese international, 17 years old, looking actually really, really good. And we've also got Matty Barker, the England under-19s international, who's locked in on that left-hand side. Barker I'm not too convinced by. He's only got 3-star potential ability. We obviously will have to pick 2 more players at least to fill out those 5 as a minimum. We are sticking Vers-Louis as our locked-in goalkeeper because he's technically not our best goalkeeper, but I think he will be our best goalkeeper in a few years' time, if that makes sense. So last season, we obviously won the Isuzu A-League regular season. We didn't win at the finals because we never seemed to. The Australia Cup, we did win that. And the Asian Champions League, we managed to get to a final for a second successive season. We are so close to winning this thing. We have 4 more seasons. Can we actually win the Asian Champions League? We are obviously at the start of the season. We obviously have a transfer window open. We've got a bit of money to spend, £3.2 million. We've not got a huge amount of wage budget to spend, but we are obviously spending big money on a couple of players. In particular, Sally, he's on £25,000 a week, and he is wanted, which means he might not be here too much longer. Anyway, we haven't done any transfer business as of yet, so we're going to jump forward to the end of the initial transfer window. We're going to see any business that we have done. We are obviously going to be playing the first few rounds of the Australia Cup as well, and we're going to see who we're going to lock in for the first few games. We're going to see who we're going to lock in for the season. Our 5 players who have come through our youth intakes. Well, on the 10th of September, some big transfer business has taken place. We have got £1.9 million in our bank, but we have smashed our record transfer, and probably the record transfer of Australia as a nation, joining the country, that is. First of all, Emilio Lawrence has moved back to the UK, signing for Scottish side Aberdeen. He basically has just lost out from the actual ability of our squad now. He's not quite there anymore. He's moved over for £425,000, possibly going up a little bit more. And we have also sold Patapat Salih. He has moved over to Al Weda in, I'm going to say Saudi Arabia. I should know this by now. He's gone for £1.7 million. I think we've got a sell-on in there. I'm not too convinced, but I think there's a sell-on in there. The problem that we have, I've mentioned this a few times before, is because of the wages basically in our league, we can't demand massive fees for these players. So what happens is you get teams from Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, basically teams with loads of money, and they just throw money at them and they go, yeah, that's good enough for me, and they'll just take them for really cheap. And that is what has happened with Salih. However, we have reinvested that money and then some. Juan Martin Sancho is a 20-year-old Argentine under-20 international signed from Banfield who is a left midfielder, left winger, 5-star current ability. He's cost us £3.1 million. He's getting paid half of the amount of money that Salih was getting paid. Obviously, he does count as a foreign footballer, so he is going to take up one of those 5 slots that we have, but that's fine because we lost Salih. We've replaced him with Sancho, and I think we could have ourselves a possible world-class footballer on our hands. He's only 20. I'm fully aware he is not going to be here come season 9 or 10, but the fact that we've managed to bring him into this club, bring him over to Australia, is absolute madness. And that is actually all the transfer business we have done. So Lawrence was there. We also loaned out Stephen Barron. I don't believe anyone has been released. Anyone really of interest anyway has been released. Shamalama Trenkov, actually, he's kind of of interest, isn't he? He's been released. Thomas Waddingham, I feel like he's somebody we should probably mention. He did play quite a lot of times for the first team. I think that's probably it. Everyone else, no one really kind of too special. I say that. I'm literally ignoring people who've played over 100 matches for us. Chris Donald played 103 matches. He's currently out with a broken leg. All of them have been released on free transfers. And when it comes to the players being locked into the starting 11, then number 1 is Charlie Bright. The 18-year-old New Zealand right back will be keeping his place in the starting 11. As will Owen Apap, 17 years old, 10 caps, 1 goal for Malta, will be keeping his place in the starting 11. And now we have 3 new players. That is right, Matty Barker is not being locked in for this season. Instead, we have Krios Draper, who came through our youth intake last season. He is going to get locked in on that left-hand side. This could be a risk, okay? This could be a risk. He's going to be locked in on that left-hand side. Draper, at 17 years old, has 5 goals for the under-20s in just 6 appearances. So I think there's something definitely good here with Draper. Also, where he's only 17, he's basically going to be able to be locked into the starting 11 until the end of this save. Another player in a very similar situation is Ben Shepherd with 2 ends, 17 years old, has only just turned 17 as well, going to be locked in as the attacking midfielder. He has so far played 2 Australia Cup matches and scored 3 goals for us, so he's started off pretty well. And finally, it's a bit of a risk, but I think there is potential here as well. Jaden Rhodes, 17 years old, Australian central defender and central midfielder, will be locked in as a centre-back, playing alongside Charlie Bright as our right-back. So those are our 5 players being locked in. And you might be wondering, where does Sancho fit into this? The answer is on the subs bench. I can't believe I'm doing this, okay? I say he's not on the subs bench, okay? But he's probably going to be coming off the subs bench a lot. I'm going to try and retrain him maybe as an attack midfielder, maybe even as a right winger. Maybe we can put him on that right-hand side and make him slot into that position. But Sancho, I'm not going to lock him in. This could be a huge risk. He might get peed off, okay? Fully aware he might get peed off. Season 8, maybe we need to lock in Sancho, or maybe we need to take out Draper, and Sancho needs to play on that left-hand side. Who will... I mean, I say who will know. I'll know. Of course I'll know. I'm in charge. But right now, we're just going to see what happens. Maybe my assistant manager is going to play him as a left-back. It's a stupid thing to do, but that is something that certainly could happen. Obviously, with these 5 players locked in, it means we don't have a striker, we don't have a right winger, we don't have a defensive midfielder and a left-back or a centre-back or our goalkeeper. However, Versluis is now our number 1 goalkeeper, so that's kind of what I expected to happen, particularly after Trenkov left the club. Versluis should be our number 1 now until the end of the save. Oh, I should also mention Ismail as well. Obviously, he's very good. He was playing on that right-hand side. Maybe he's going to be a right winger. We might have made a mistake here by playing Draper. We're going to do it for a season, okay? I feel like a season of playing Draper might not be so bad. Maybe we put Draper to the right-hand side in Season 2. I say Season 2, Season 8. What I'm trying to say is we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Talking about what we've done so far, we have made it to the Australia Cup quarterfinals. We have got Newcastle Jets, so we have gone through a couple of rounds, I believe. So if we go back to the first round, we played Dandenong, Thunder, beat them 6-0. We then played Melbourne City FC, beating them 4-2, setting up the quarterfinal against Newcastle Jets. Much like every few seasons, Manly United and Sunshine Coast Wanderers, 2 teams who are not in the A-League, making it through to the quarterfinal. So one of them will be in the semi-final as well. And also, we are obviously in the Champions League. We find ourselves in Group G, so let's actually have a look at Group G easily like this. We are there with John Book of Korea, we are there with Kobe Vissel of Japan, and Sheikh Russell KC of Bangladesh. They are going to get absolutely hammered. They're a semi-professional side. I imagine they've got no players. Let's click on this man here. He's rubbish, isn't he? Sorry, Sheikh Russell Korea. Chakra Dhaka might be their name. You're going to get absolutely destroyed in this competition. I'm confident that we should get out of this group. However, Jumbuk are a good side, so are Kobe. So it might be, we're fine. We've been finalists the last 2 seasons. What am I worried about? Anyway, let's jump forward then to around, I think about Christmas Day, New Year's Day time. So we're going to jump forward to that, see how well things have kicked off at the start of the season, see how well the Champions League is going as well. What am I on about Christmas Day? It's the 7th of January, and we find ourselves currently sat top of the table, 23 points after 10 matches. We have made it out of the Asian Champions League, and we have also won the Australia Cup. Things are going pretty well so far. 7 wins in the league, lots of threes, but also goals conceded all over the place. 3-3 draw against Central Coast Mariners, and our only defeat comes against Perth Glory, who are currently sat in 5th place. Looking at the Champions League, so in Group G, we actually won the group with 6 wins with a positive 26 goal difference. We beat Jeonbuk and Kobe 6-1 and 6-0. That's away from home as well. That's very good. We are turning into a pretty good side. We obviously in the next round have drawn against Jeonbuk. Is this a thing that always happens? We just play the team who finished second in our group. Is that always a thing? So are Shabab Al Ali playing Al whatever they're called. They're not. No. Why do we always seem to draw against the team in our group? I don't know, but sure, that's the thing that's happened. Not that it really matters, by the way, but Central Coast Mariners have qualified and Sydney FC have qualified. So we've got 3 Australian sides through to the second round of the Asian Champions League. Do I take that as a win if somebody else from Australia wins the Asian Champions League? Right, let's address the elephant in the room, or the Juan Martin Sancho in the room. Basically, he's not happy that he's not starting, which is understandable. So we have changed things up for the second part of the season. I'm not locking him in, but what we have done, if we have a look at the tactics, we have moved Draper over to the right-hand side. He can play there. I don't know why I didn't do this initially. I feel like I should have thought that through. I say I don't know why. I know why I didn't do it, because I wanted Salil to play there, so that's why I didn't put Draper on the right-hand side, but my brain didn't compute about Sancho. I'm a moron, okay? Just
just listen to me, and I'm a moron. That's all you need to know.
Also, speaking of Salil, yes, you probably have noticed there is a bid in for Salil. 2 teams have come in. It is SH Port of China and Al Qadsiya of, I'm going to say, Saudi Arabia. It is, of course, it's Saudi Arabia. We've also got a couple of other Saudi sides and a Qatari side as well coming in for him. He's only worth £1.6 million. We're going to hopefully get some salons and all sorts of stuff in there. But Ismail is going to be leaving the club because we are not going to be able to keep hold of him. Oh, and speaking of Sancho, by the way, despite the fact he's come off the bench 15 times, he has 12 assists. That's a lot of assists. He's done very, very well for us. I want to have a very quick look. So starting at Charlie Bright as our right back, how is he doing? 6 assists and 3 goals. Jaden Rhodes, he's probably our worst player out of all of them at the moment. He's got a couple of goals in the Australia Cup, but nothing more to really shout home about. Owen Apap, who I think is getting better and better every time we see him. He's got 4 assists and a goal to his name. Then we've got Draper on the now right-hand side, but from the left, he's got a few goals, 7 goals, 6 assists. Quite a few of them actually coming in the Asian Champions League, the goals that is. And then Ben Shepherd in the middle, 10 matches played in the league, 5 in the Australia Cup, 9 goals and 1 assist. So we are doing okay. The players that we are forcing to play, none of them are really any good. Charlie Bright is technically the best one at 4-star current ability, but it's fine. This is kind of the point of this challenge. You want to make it so you're not playing your best youth players. You want to be constantly developing your players, making assets in theory, to kind of either boost your team and make them better or sell them for huge amounts of money. And arguably, we're going to do neither of those things. But it's, it's all part of the fun of the game. I have just seen as well, the 5 players we have locked in have a total of £30 per week each for their entire salary, which is just utterly ridiculous. That's £150 a week, right? We are paying for 5 players out of our starting 11. I feel like this is slave labour at this point, right? Anyway, enough talk about the efficacies of what I'm currently doing. We are obviously in a transfer window. Financially, we've got £2 million to spend. We are obviously going to be bringing in some more money to the club with Ismail leaving the club. Have we actually done any transfers so far? No. I don't know why I asked it like that. I know we haven't done any transfers. We also haven't released anybody else other than the ones we mentioned earlier on in the video. So we're going to jump forward then to the end of the transfer window, see how well things go. Obviously, there will be, I think, a couple of Champions League games maybe played. And obviously a few league games as well. So let's jump forward, see how well we get on. And obviously, I want to see some goals from Sancho now that he's actually starting, obviously. Well, the only transfer that we have done is we've sold Ahmed Ismail. He has moved over to Al Qadsiya in Saudi Arabia for £1.6 million. It's kind of frustrating, but, these things happen, like I said earlier, with Salih. Not a lot we can really do about it. We've just sold 2 of our best players for £3.3 million, and we've replaced them with 1 player for £3.1 million, who, now that he's starting to play some games, has got 8 goals in 9 starts and 15 off the bench, and then 13 assists. So I feel like playing Sancho was probably the thing we should have done from the start. He is also unhappy because he wants to start more games, but it's fine because, if you look, he has started the last, 5 or 6 games, so we're all good. From a competition perspective, we haven't played any Champions League games because we are a few days before the first leg against Jeonbuk in the second round, but we are also still top of the table with now 11 wins, 4 draws, 1 defeat. We are, 6 points clear of Newcastle Jets. I feel like we could be winning the regular season for, how many times? That's not a word. The regular season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this could be the 7th time in a row, which is that all of them? That's all of them, isn't it? We've won every single season. We haven't won the finals, though. That's the one that kind of we keep messing up with, but it's fine. It's okay. As long as we win something, I'm happy with that. Another thing that did happen, and obviously I forgot to tell you when it did happen because it happened back in October, is we've had a youth intake, and we've actually had a pretty decent one. And by decent, we've got a fair few players who could be really good, and we've got some players who I think could just be there to fill out some squad numbers if we need them going forward. So we're going to look at every single one of them. Starting from the bottom, it's Alex Fredericks. He doesn't look too bad. 3-star potential, though, could be a bit of a problem. Max Dujic, who is a 16-year-old Croatian left winger. He's obviously never going to play for us if Sancho stays at the club. But, again, a player who could be useful maybe going forward in the future. Paul George, a right back, who, again, might be good, might not be good. He's 16. He's fine. Giovanni Di Martino next up, an Italian left-back. Last time we had an Italian left-back, his name was Pizza Miglioni. And Di Martino, he's not too bad. He's not great in the air, but he's a left-back. Do we need him to be good in the air? He's pretty quick. I quite like the look of Di Martino. And then we've got Ramon Lawong,
who is a central defender, 6'2", very good at defending, not so great physically, not so great technically, but he's got the numbers in some of the reasonable positions like tackling and marking. It's kind of what you want from a centre-back. So again, maybe one who could be useful. And then 5 players who are considered elite talents. Jacek Szymanski is the first one, an Australian left winger, or left wing back, sorry, who we definitely need to retrain to either be a winger or a wing back, or left back, sorry. I think it's going to be a left back. He is 17 years old. I'm assuming he is part Polish. He is also part Polish. I think he's good. He's not amazing at the moment, but he's got 4-star potential ability, so that's good to see. Matthew Lee is a right winger or right midfielder. Again, 4.5-star potential ability. Got some reasonable numbers mentally. Doesn't look too bad physically. Doesn't look too bad either. Andre Norton, next up. Now, Andre might be playing next season. Problem is with Andre, he plays in the middle, and we've got Ben Shepherd, or whatever his name is, playing in the middle there. Andre Norton, he's ridiculous, right? It's not just me thinking that. He's ridiculous. He's already been promoted to the first team because I think he's going to be that good, and he is that good. And Youssef Salama might be his name, is also a pretty decent player. Right winger, maybe attacker, not quite sure. Again, has been promoted to the first team, 5-star potential ability. So what I'm trying to say is we've had a pretty good youth intake, haven't we? Apparently the star graduate is actually Szymanski, which I'm not convinced by. When you look at Salama and Norton, those are the stars. Lee and Szymanski could be pretty good, but I feel like they are not quite there just yet. I'd argue Norton is the one, right? Andre Norton is definitely good enough to be playing first team football. Just to let you know as well, though, he's not playing it at the moment. It is going to be Rhodes, Bright, Apap, Shepherd and Draper keeping their positions in the squad. Obviously, Draper moving from the left to the right-hand side to allow for Sancho to play. We're now going to jump forward then to the end of the regular season. We're going to see how well things go in the Champions League. I think it will go up to maybe the semi-finals, something along those lines. And yeah, hopefully we do get ourselves into a third successive final. We win the regular season and everyone has a lovely time. First things first, we have won the A-League by a ridiculous margin. In fact, I believe we've only drawn 1 match since the last time we checked in, and we have won everything else. So we have drawn 5, Adelaide, Perth, Newcastle Jets, Central Coast Mariners and Melbourne Victory, and then we have won 20 matches to give us 65 points overall. I think is that our best result? That actually is our best result ever. Okay, not what I was expecting at all, but we have absolutely smashed that. It does mean we obviously go into the finals, but we have to, if we're not in the finals, I'd be concerned at this point. How do we get on in the Champions League? Not good. It is Al Halil versus Ulsan in the final. In the semi-final, we lose against Ulsan, and we did beat them 4-1. The problem is, we also lost 4-0 in the first leg. We absolutely threw it away, didn't we? We threw it away. We could have been in a third final. What was the problem? First, we didn't play amazing. Charlie Bright gets a 5.9. Sancho picked up an injury. Maybe that was a problem. We did bring Jane Eve off the bench, which also might have been a problem as well. But when you look at our results, we knocked out Central Coast Mariners as well in the quarterfinals. We did lose against them, but we have not really lost much at all season. In fact, we've lost 3 matches. All season, we've lost 3 matches. And one of them was this one here, which is a big, big problem. Obviously, we still have one more competition to go, and that is the A-League finals. So without further ado, let's jump forward then to the end of that, see how well things go. I guess we might even jump forward to the end of the Champions League. I don't know. We'll find out. Just in case you're interested, it was won by, once again, a Middle Eastern side, this time Al Halil of Saudi Arabia, beating Ulsan 3-0 on aggregate after the 2-legged affair. And how did we get on in the A-League finals, you ask? We actually won it thanks to Sancho scoring a brace, 1 from the penalty spot and 1 with an assist from Ben Shepherd. We win, beating MacArthur 2-0 in the final. Shelford Lugo, has he been our lead striker? He seems like he's played a lot up front, which is always nice to see that one of our players who's actually kind of come through our youth intake is getting a lot of game time. But there you can see then, we win the regular season, we win the finals, we get knocked out in the semi-final of the Champions League, and we win the Australia Cup. Arguably, this is our best season ever, apart from this little blip, this little Asian Champions League blip. We are so close, I feel, to winning this, and I feel like it might just be out of reach. Right, let's take a look then at the players who we had locked in for the season. Charlie Bright, then 19 years old, now has his first New Zealand cap, which is good to see. 16 assists as well in all competitions, 4 goals. He played 43 matches. For an 18/19-year-old, that's impressive. Playing alongside him in defence was Jaden Rhodes, who I think has got a bit better. He's still not amazing. 18 years old now, 2 under-20s caps for Australia, 38 appearances, 3 goals and 1 assist in all competitions. Both of his goals, I say 2 of his goals coming in the Australia Cup, 1 of them coming in the A-League as well. Moving even further up the pitch to Owen Apap, who is still on a youth contract, by the way, at £30 a week, which, once again, this is almost certainly slave labour. 42 appearances, played a hell of a lot of football. 1 goal just for him from the Australia Cup, and 6 assists as well to his name. He's good. I genuinely think he's probably one of our best players, and I don't know why, because technically, he's not amazing. But he's just got loads, decent mental numbers, decent physical numbers. I feel like if we can get these technical numbers up, he could be a really good footballer. Utility man then, Krios Draper, who was obviously a utility man because he played starting on the left and then moved over to the right when I realised I was an idiot, has managed to score 15 goals and get 13 assists in 43 appearances. That's very, very good. Still only 17. He's got 9 under-20 caps for Australia with 9 goals as well. Has he? I'm assuming he's been playing on the right. He has. Can we see for the under-20s? He's been playing on the left and the right and as a striker. He scored a hat-trick against Iraq under-20s as a striker. He got 4 against Paraguay under-20s on the left-hand side. So, I mean, he's good. Draper's good. Ben Shepherd is the final one, obviously, that we locked in. Lots of arrows on the upwards, apart from determination. He's got 24 goals and 8 assists in 40 appearances. That's a lot. And he's only capped at under-19 level. Can we see? Do we even see the under-19s? We do. He played against Italy. And he played once. Is that it? I feel like he's better than that. He is only 17 though. He's still, I think he's the youngest of the players. So Draper is 17 still. In fact, I think he's younger by about a month, I think. But when you look at the ages, 18, 19, 18, 17 and 17, all 5 of those players should be able to play up until season 10. The only one, maybe, Charlie Bright might miss out on season 10, but everyone else should be fine. I do want to take a look at Juan Martin Sancho though. Obviously, he didn't start the season well because I didn't play him. When he did start playing more, he gets 23 goals and 21 assists. That is ridiculous. Goals-wise, Shepherd's top scorer. Sancho is second. Mason is third with 23. He's still here. He's still playing a lot of games. We've got Draper in fourth. We've got Shelford Lugo in fifth with 14. Joshua Knoll, who I feel like you're my left back, aren't you? Yeah. You're doing weirdly quite well for a left back. Sorting by assists, Sancho, Bright, Draper and Knoll as well, all getting into double figures. And I want to have a quick look at versus Louis. Is he getting good? He's good. We've got a good goalkeeper. Now we just need to hold on to him. And I feel like what's going to happen is probably PSV are going to come back and say, can we have him please? I would like him back in my club. Anyway, that is it for Season 7. All in all, a successful season apart from the Asian Champions League. Can we actually win the thing? Find out in Season 8. So, Season 7 for our Brisbane Roar side in this Youth Development Challenge was actually really, really impressive, considering we were playing 5 players whose entire wage per week was £150 across the 5 of them. Season 8, we want to go one further, and by one further I mean we need to be doing a lot better in the Asian Champions League. We got to the semi-finals last time around. The 2 previous seasons we got to the final, eventually losing out to Middle Eastern sides. Can we get to the final, and can we actually win the thing in Season 8? Obviously, it is the start of a transfer window. We've got £3.5 million to spend and a hell of a lot of money left in our wage budget, although don't know whether we're really going to be able to do too much with it. And as it is a youth development challenge, we need to be picking ourselves 5 players who have come through our youth intakes over the last few seasons with Brisbane Roar and locking them in to the starting 11. And in Season 8, I am going to be doing a couple more changes. I wasn't expecting to do it, but I think from our youth intake last season, we kind of have to. But we're not going to look at them just yet. We are going to briefly take a look at the transfers that have taken place. In fact, nothing has taken place. We have loaned out a couple of players. So Simone Negri, who came for our youth intake a very, very long time ago, has gone out on loan to Redlands United, as has Max Dujic, who came through our youth intake last time around. He has also gone out on loan. So far, no other transfer business has happened. So we are going to jump forward to the end of the initial transfer window, see what transfer business we can do, see how well things go, because I believe the Australia Cup will be taking place, or part of the Australia Cup will also be taking place in the first few weeks or months of the season, so we'll jump forward to see how far we get on in that as well. It is now the 8th of September, and we have kicked off the Australia Cup with a 6-0 victory against Redlands United, a team that we did loan 2 players to. However, we then fall against Sydney FC in the second round. We have literally won this thing 4 times out of the last 5, and we have been knocked out in the second round against Sydney FC. In the quarterfinals, we have got Runaway Bay versus Wolves FC. I mean, who are these? They're a semi-professional side. Runaway Bay are also a semi-professional side. This is frustrating to me. After last season, which was arguably our most successful season, we have then just absolutely balls this up at literally the second round. I can't believe that has happened, but unfortunately these things do happen, and I'm wondering whether some of it is linked to the Youth Development Challenge where we have locked in 5 players, and I'll show you who we've locked in just a moment. Because first I do need to show you a brand new signing to the club. Martin Rivero is a 21-year-old Uruguayan international defender. He's a right back, he's a centre back, he's a left back. He has been brought in because I think we need better defenders, and Rivero is certainly one of those. He's got 4.5-star current ability, possibly 5-star potential. He's cost absolutely nothing as well. I think we've got ourselves another possible world-class footballer on our hands. And that is it. That is all the transfer business we have done. If we have a look at the released players, jump back to last season, I don't think there is anyone either that has been released from their contract. So our squad looks pretty much the same as it did at the end of last season with the addition of Rivero. The 5 players that we are locking into our starting 11, however, is slightly different. And by slightly different, we have rearranged a few people. So, last season, Draper was a right winger, Shepherd was an attacking midfielder, Andre Norton didn't exist until about October time, Jaden Rhodes was in our starting 11, and Szymanski came through our October youth intake as well. So, let's take a look then at the players. Jaden Rhodes, 18 years old, 2 under-20 caps now to his name. He's getting better, okay? He's not amazing, but he's getting better. I feel like this might have been part of the reason why we might struggle in some competitions occasionally, because we always seem to play not very good defenders. We are also playing Szymanski. Now, Szymanski, I said in last season that I don't necessarily think he's the best player to come for our youth intake. However, the scouts did. And I'm going to take their word for it and assume that they know more than what I know about the code underneath the game, because I don't know the code underneath the game. So Szymanski's going to get locked in as our left back, because I feel like if they think he's our best player, he must be our best player. So we're going to try it. We're going to try him out. We've got season 8, 9 and 10 to play. If he plays for those 3 seasons, we will see how he develops. Moving up the field, we are dropping Owen Apap. And that is partially because, if we have a look at Apap here, he's all right, but I feel like he'll get into the starting 11. Okay, I feel like we don't need to pick Apap, and I think actually leaving the 2 defensive midfield positions open all the time might be better, because it means we can do rotation when players get injured and things like that. In the attacking midfield position, so on the right-hand side, Ben Shepherd, last season played as an attacking midfielder. This season will be playing on the right wing. Still only under 19s caps for the Australia side. But he's good. I think he's good. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. We've got Krios Draper leading the line this time. Last time around, he was a right winger. And I'm pushing him up to be a striker because he does have 15 finishing. And I feel like that's a good number to be a striker with. And finally, in the attacking midfield role, which last season was occupied by Ben Shepherd, is Andre Norton, who I just think is probably the best player to ever come through our youth intake with his current ability as what it is. It says only 2-star, 4.5-star potential ability, but I just think he's really good. I don't know what it is. I think there's just something about him. He's really good now, so we're going to lock him into that starting 11 and try and unlock as much potential as we can out of him. It means, obviously, we do not have our goalkeeper locked in, which will arguably be Versluis. We know that. Our right back will probably be Rivero, but it could be Charlie Bright. Yes, we have dropped Charlie Bright, but I feel like he's good enough to get into the squad anyway. So there was a reason why we did it. In central defence, Rivero can play there. We've still got Lackley Samuel. Charlie Bright can play as a centre-back as well if we need him. Defence midfield, as you've seen, we've got Gerdwich, Reich, we've got Noel, we've got Leonard, we've got Pizza, we've got a Pap. We've got loads of players who can play in those positions. And on that left-hand side, it will be Sancho. Because if it's anybody else, my assistant manager is an idiot. Fully aware that last season, I didn't start Sancho, did I? I had him on the subs bench for the first half of the season and then immediately changed my mind when it got to about January time. Anyway, we are also in the Asian Champions League, as you'd expect, after we won both the regular season and the A-League finals. We are going to be up against, in the Champions League, Osaka from Japan, Selangor from Malaysia, and back down here, Seoul, obviously from South Korea. So, I think we should be good enough to get through this group. It's probably going to be easier than last year, and I think last year we absolutely walked through this group, partially because we did have a team from Bangladesh, but we did beat the 2 teams from, I want to say, Japan and Korea as well. Last season, we beat them by 6 goals at their home stadium. So I feel like we should be getting out of the group no problems whatsoever. So that is the transfer business that we have done. Obviously, no real matches have taken place other than the Australia Cup, which we are no longer in. So just the 2 competitions to focus on now. Maybe this is the year. Now we don't have the distraction of the Australia Cup, that we're going to win the Asian Champions League. I'm fully aware that is an absolute nonsense excuse because the Australia Cup is like 9 matches and they're all out of the way by probably about October time. It's the 5th of January and we have done okay in the Asian Champions League. Not amazing. We do have a positive 26 goal difference. However, we have not won the group. We have finished second by just 1 point, and that is purely because we lost 5-3 against Seoul. We did draw with Seoul as well, but we won our matches. We beat Osaka 13-0 away from home. We beat Selangor 7-1. Then we beat Osaka again 5-0 and Selangor 4-0. So we scored a lot of goals. Problem is, we conceded 5 against Seoul in that one. Chris Draper is our top goal scorer in the Champions League with 14. That's a lot of goals for 6 matches. There is a bigger problem, however. This is the worst start to a season we've ever had. After 11 matches, we're 8th in the table. We've got just 4 wins. Wins that are comfortable as well. 4-0 against Western United and Melbourne City. Adelaide beating them 3-0. And then Sydney United beating them 4-1. But 4 draws, not good. 3 defeats, even worse. Both of them coming against, or 2 coming against Perth Glory and 1 against Central Coast Mariners. So the 2 teams at the top of the table. I don't know what's causing this. Can we have a look? Is there like a clear problem here? I mean, Szymanski's not doing amazing on a 6.3 in that one. What about this one here? Ben Shepherd. Shepherd's playing... Why are your name there? I mean, Pizza on a 6-2 versus Louis, getting a poor result there. We did only lose that one 3-2, so we scored a couple of goals, but also conceded. I mean, we're just not really defending. I think this is the problem. When we defend well, we defend really well. We don't concede at all. When we defend badly, we defend real badly. Just seen there against Osaka where we win 13-0. 6 goals from Draper. Did Sancho miss 2 penalties as well? Hold on. Could we have won this 15-0? He did miss 2 penalties, although admittedly I think he just missed a penalty there and missed a penalty there. We could have won this match 15-0. He got an 8.8 after missing 2 penalties. That's ridiculous. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. That's not why we're looking at these. We're looking at these because we are absolutely awful in the league, and that is a problem for us, I think. It is obviously a transfer window. We've got £3.5 million to spend. We are negative £1.2 million in the bank, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Because basically, if they've given us money to spend, this number up here doesn't make a difference to me. Maybe we need to invest in another centre-back? I mean, I don't really know what to do. Maybe we need to think about who we're playing in defence. Maybe we need a really good defence midfielder. Maybe that's the problem. So far, we haven't done any transfers, by the way, and I will double check because I always forget to do this. Some players do get released. Luke Quinn got released. Basically, these are players that don't get registered in our 25-man squad or whatever it needs to be, and I just kind of forget that they get released because I don't care that they're not in the club anymore because we weren't playing them anyway. So anyway, start of the season has not been good. Knocked out of the Australia Cup, doing absolutely appallingly in the league as well. We've kind of done okay, though, when it comes to the Champions League. Let's go through the transfer window, see if we can make our squad any better. I feel like we need to do something. We've done one thing, and that is sell Jay Neve to Shenhua in China. He's gone for 275, possibly going up to £300,000. He just wasn't playing for us, and they offered a bit of money, and I went, you know what, that'll do. There is a sell-on in there as well, so if he is any good and eventually moves on from China to possibly back to Australia, maybe for a bit of money, we're going to get a bit of kickback, but it's not going to be a lot of money, and that's it. So my talk of we need to strengthen our squad fell on deaf ears, and those were my own ears. So maybe we might have made a mistake. I will point out, though, we have started to claw things back, though. We're now up into 5th place, and I think that's because when it comes to January, we've done reasonably well. We have still drawn against Wellington, Phoenix and Western United, but we have won 4 out of 6 matches, and Draper has scored lots of goals. Andre Norton as well. He's got 14 goals in 22 starts. So we're turning things around. It's probably not too much of a problem anymore. We've got a lot of goals scored, 40 scored, but 23 conceded is arguably too many. We are, what is that, 4, 5, 6, 7 points behind top of the table. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. You can see there as well, in the Asian Champions League, we are up against Yokohama F. Marinos, a team that I believe we have probably played before in the past, and if we haven't, I feel like we should be good enough to beat them. Can we even see? Is that a thing? There's no last fixtures or anything, but yeah, we should be good enough to beat Yokohama F. Marinos. I'm hoping we can get ourselves to the final. I mean, if the league's not going well, the Australia Cup's not going well, the Asian Champions League has to go well, right? Surely something has to go our way. Oh, and another thing that's not necessarily gone away, it's not been too bad, is our youth intake. So Robert Moore, first up, not amazing, but he's coming in. We've got Andy Crichton, who actually looks quite good. I'm not convinced he's a right back. I feel like he might be more of a defence midfielder. The problem is he can't header, and that is probably a key thing for a defence midfielder. Max Robinson next up is an awful goalkeeper, but might get good maybe one day if all the stars align. We've got Luzbicic, who again might get good. He's a centre-back, he's 6'4", he's got no pace and no physical ability, but when it comes to technical numbers, he's alright. Mentally, he is also alright. Anthony Hill is a left winger and striker, who, as we know, left wingers won't get into our squad unless Sancho is just ripped from the face of the earth. But Anthony Hill could get good physically. He's okay mentally. He's alright, isn't he? Owen Thompson next up, 1-star, current ability, 4-star potential as a striker. I think he's, so far of all the players we've seen, he's probably the best. He's not amazing, is he? And then we've got Serkan Yücel, who is a central midfielder, so he'd have to be retrained probably to be a defence midfielder. He's 16 years old. He's all right. He's got some reasonable technical numbers, and by reasonable I mean he's got some technique and some passing ability. Mentally, not amazing. He's angry, that's a thing. And physically, he's all right. He's pretty fast, actually. I say fast. 14 acceleration, 10 pace. Natural fitness of 15 is also pretty good. So it's not the best. It's not the best youth intake, let's be honest. They actually reckon the star graduate is Owen Thompson. I probably agree with that. Anyway then, let's jump forward then to the end of the regular season. Can we turn this around? Can we win the league? And can we get ourselves to another Asian Champions League final? Although it probably won't be the final. Yeah, it's definitely not the final, and the smart ones of you have probably worked out who we got knocked out by, because Yokohama F. Marinos were the team that we were playing in the knockout round. We lose 3-1, 5-4 on aggregate, meaning that we get knocked out, and it means that we have a final of Al Halil, and we also have Yokohama F. Marinos. So Al Halil could be on course to win it for a second successive season, something that no one has done since Uara Red Diamonds in 23 or 22-23, which was a duplicate final. I'm not convinced that was a thing. Maybe that didn't happen. And in the league, yeah, we didn't win. We finished on 46 points. It's our worst performance ever. So we've gone from last season, which was our best performance ever, to this season, which was our worst performance ever. So we did get 12 wins in the end. 10 draws is the killer there. 4 defeats is actually really good. The draws are the problem. We scored 66 goals. But if we sort by goals against, we are there. Like, we should not have conceded 38 goals. Central Coast Mariners let in 21. It's not been a good year, has it? It's really not been a good year for our Brisbane Roar side. Obviously, we have made it, though, into the finals. We did drop down from 3rd to 4th as well after the last game. In fact, I think it says we're playing Wellington Phoenix in the elimination final. So we're not even in the actual finals yet. So normally we go in at the semi-final phase and then the grand final phase, but we have to get past Wellington Phoenix first to then get into the semi-finals, to then get to the final. We've got an extra match to play, and that extra match, we should have absolutely battered them, but we drew 2-2 and eventually had to beat them on penalties. It was Zabala missing the opening penalty for Wellington Phoenix, meaning we do get ourselves into the A-League finals. And in the semi-final, we get ourselves through to the final by beating Sydney FC. It's going to be us versus Central Coast Mariners in the final, 5-2 on aggregate. And then somehow, after an absolutely appalling season, we have still left it with a trophy. Andre Norton, Sancho Leonard, and Sancho again winning us the A-League finals with a 4-2 victory. We should have had a 5th because Sancho missed a penalty. I feel like he misses far too many penalties, but we have managed to do it somehow. I don't know how. I mean, this is such a terrible season. Such a terrible season. Second round knockout in the Australia Cup. Second round knockout in the Asian Champions League. Finishing 4th in the regular season, but winning the finals means we do not finish this season empty-handed. But arguably we should have done. We should have finished it empty-handed. I'm worried now the board don't like me. B-. The supporters are a D. Yeah, I'm not surprised because they want to be seeing us win everything, surely, because we've done so well the last few seasons. Now we're not doing well. I mean, reached the Isuzu A-League Finals semi-final. We failed. We won it. Or did they want to finish in the... Oh, okay, they wanted us to finish 1st or 2nd in the league to get straight into the semi-final. Fine, that makes sense, I guess. But the board are happy. to a certain extent, so we're not going to get sacked. That was genuinely a worry, okay? By the way, in January, there was genuinely a worry that we might get sacked this season. The last thing to do then, before we end this season, is take a look at the 5 players locked in. Jaden Rhodes, first up, 19 years old, 3 under-20 caps now to his name, 4 goals, 2 assists. He's getting better. He's genuinely getting better. I think he's not too far away from being somebody who will just get into the starting 11 without us actually having to lock him in there. In the left-back position, however, Jacek Szymanski is not really improving a huge amount. Now 18 years old, 1 under-20 cap. He has got 7 assists and 2 goals to his name. He's just not really done much. He's just not really done much at all. He's worth 1.2 to £2 million though, so there is definitely something there. The game thinks he's got some high potential. So we might need to stick with Szymanski until the end of Season 10, just to see if we can kind of eke anything out of him. On the right wing is Ben Shepherd, 2.5 star, current ability, 5 star potential, 18 years old, still only under 19s caps for Australia, 10 goals and 8 assists in 38 starts. He's getting good. I think he's getting good. I mean, I always look at this before I look at the numbers, and this shape is good. The numbers, maybe not so much. Some of the numbers are a little bit on the low side, like passing of 7. It's not a good number for passing, is it? Physically as well, he's got like stamina of 9, not good. Strength of 7, not particularly good either. But he's still only 18, so plenty of time to develop, and I think he is going to be doing that. Andre Norton, however, in his debut season, I think has improved. I don't know whether he has improved, but he looks like he's got better to me. 24 goals and 11 assists from that central attacker midfield position. He's just good, isn't he? He's got 5 under 20 caps with 3 goals as well to his name. I think this was a wise decision to put Andre Norton in 4-star current ability. Definitely a wise decision. And finally, Krios Draper, who last season played as a right winger. I pushed him up to be a striker this season, has got 31 goals and 7 assists. This was also a very wise decision. 3-star current ability, 4-star potential, so he's lost half a star or maybe a full star of potential ability, but Draper is actually turning into a good footballer. 9 under 20 goals and 13 under 20 starts. Has he been playing as a striker for the under 20s? He's also got some under 23 appearances by the looks of it. So under 23s as a striker, under 20s on the left predominantly. Just having a look at the rest of the squad, so sorting by goals, we've got Sancho is up there. He's unhappy. He wants to move to a bigger club. Great. Well, that's next season then. That's going to be a thing. Jack Mason as well is also up there. He's unhappy. He wants to start more games. I have listed him purely because he's not getting game time and he's just going to get annoyed. So I want to get rid of him. He's actually out of contract, so he probably will be leaving the club. But he did get 7 goals and 9 assists. If we sort by assists, Sancho gets 16 assists, 28 goals as well. Rivera on his debut season in Australia getting 13 assists from right back, I assume. We've also got Mason, who we've already seen. So we're doing all right. Did Owen Apap get game time? He got 9 starts in the league, 10 in total, 19 off the bench. So he's still getting kind of a bit of game time. He's actually good, isn't he? Do quite like Owen Apap. And Verstui, is he good? Yep. All these numbers are going up quick. These numbers are starting to go up quick. I like it. Really do like it. We've also got actually Salama, who came through our last youth intake, who did get a few games. Didn't score any, but did get a few games off the bench. That is also pretty good to see. That's going to do it then for Season 8, with just 2 more seasons to go, Season 9 and Season 10 of this Youth Development Challenge. Can we win the Asian Champions League? Can we return back to our winning ways and actually have a much, much better season than what we did this time around? Because this time around was awful. As we move into the penultimate season, we are off the back of possibly our worst season ever, which still ended up with us actually winning some silverware in the shape of the A-League finals. We did, however, finish 4th place in the regular season. I'm not too sure what that means for the Asian Champions League, because normally when you win the league, you go straight into it. I feel like we might still be in the Asian Champions League because we won the A-League finals. If not, we might actually be in the Asian Confederation Cup this year, which I think we definitely have a chance to win. I don't know what I prefer. Oh, and I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen this season, but something that might happen. Juan Martin Sancho is unhappy and wants to leave the club and move to a stronger squad. However, nobody's interested at the moment. Doesn't mean they won't be. It is day 1 of our transfer window, so there is plenty of time for someone to get interested. But maybe we might be losing Sancho. We will see.
Oh yeah, and obviously this is a youth development challenge, which means we need to be locking in 5 players who have come through our youth intakes in the last few seasons. They all need to be 21 or under, and I think we are probably safe to play the same 5 players that we played last season, but we will lock that in when we get to the end of the transfer window. Oh, and because it is a transfer window right now, we haven't done any business at the moment. We've got £3.8 million to spend. We've got a fairly sizable wage budget as well to spend, but obviously when it comes to spending that money, we can only spend that on designated players because basically there is a salary cap in the A-League, which is annoying because basically the salary cap is, I think, £25,000 and we can spend up to £95,000. Anyway, so this is Season 9, the penultimate season of this Youth Development Challenge with Brisbane Roar. We are going to jump forward to the end of the first transfer window, see if we've managed to spend any of that money, see if we have lost Sancho, and basically lock in our 5 players for this season. So we're back on the 8th of September, and we have obviously had a bit of a transfer window. Our transfer budget is now negative £162,000. What does that mean? It doesn't mean we spent the money. In fact, I don't really know what that means. We didn't buy anyone worth like £4 million. We did buy somebody, but not for anywhere near that amount of money. I assume we've spent a lot of money somewhere else that I just was not really aware is a thing that we've done. Have we spent anything big this season? We've got travel costs. We've got transfer expenditure was £885,000. That's how much we spent on somebody. But yeah, nothing else seems to really have affected it. But for some reason, they've decided we've got a negative transfer budget now. So 2 real bits of transfer business to talk about. Jake Girdwood-Reich has left the club. He was here for a very, very long time, signing from St. Louis City. He's moved over to Melbourne City on a free transfer. 140 league appearances for us, a very good player, but I think as he's got on, as we've improved as a team, he's just not needed anymore. And joining the club is 22-year-old Australian international joining from Melbourne City FC. It wasn't intended, it wasn't like a swap deal, for £875,000. It is Michael Stewart, who can play anywhere along the back, and some really good things about Michael Stewart. First of all, he's a very good footballer, but secondly, he is Australian. I mean, it's fairly obvious because he's Australian and does have a cap for them, but it means he does not count as a non-Australian footballer. Again, sounds really stupid when you say it out loud, but sometimes I kind of have to reiterate this to myself. And I guess one good thing so far, we haven't sold Sancho. He is still at the club. There was no real interest. He has asked to leave because he wants to get in the national team set up, which is completely fair if you ask me. But if nobody wants to sign you, Juan, no one's going to sign you. He will become Australian in 2 years, so maybe that's an option for you. Maybe that's the international setup you want to get into. Get into the Australia squad. Which is something that Lackley Samuel, I still don't know whether that's how it's pronounced, is able to do because he is Australian now. But yeah, for some reason, he's not getting called up. I imagine he should be good enough, but it doesn't really matter. Let's talk about the 5 players that we are locking in for Season 9 for our Youth Development Challenge. And we do have one new player, but first of all, we're going to fly through the players who currently were playing last season and still in the squad. Jacek Szymanski is number 1, the 18-year-old left-back. 5 under-20s caps to his name. Squad number 7 for some reason, because that's what you want as a left-back. Will keep his place for another season. Ben Shepherd playing out on that right-hand side, 19 years old now, under-23s caps, no under-21s, or no actual full Australia caps at the moment, but he's keeping his place on that right-hand side. Andre Norton, after he had an absolutely ridiculous debut season for us in the attacking midfield role, scoring 20 league goals in 30 league appearances, keeps his place, just 18 years old, 5 under-20 caps and 3 under-20 goals. Similarly to Norton, Krios Draper had a ridiculously good season last season, playing as our lead striker, and he will be keeping his place in the squad. And we have one new name joining the squad. Replacing Jaden Rhodes, who has basically spent the last 2 seasons, I believe, locked into the starting 11, we have a new defensive midfielder. And that is somebody who isn't a defensive midfielder at the moment. Nikola Lujbicic is that man. He is 17 years old. He came through our youth intake last season, I believe. Maybe the season before. I think it was last season. But he is naturally a centre-back. He's a big lad at 6'4", but he can't header. So we're going to deploy him in this defensive midfield position, which I think he should be able to be good at because he's only 17. Time to develop, getting game time as well. He should become a defensive midfielder in absolutely no time. So those are our 5 players that we are locking in to the squad. Szymanski as the left back, Lujbicic in defensive midfield, Shepherd and Norton in attacking midfield, and Draper leading the lines. I think we've got probably 4 good players. Arguably Szymanski and Lujbicic probably actually not good enough. So 3 good players and 2 rubbish ones who are hopefully going to develop. We've still got 2 more seasons to play, so hopefully in that time those 2 players can actually turn into pretty good footballers.
When it comes to competitions, we've already played a few matches in the Australia Cup. In fact, we've played 2 matches in the Australia Cup, beating Wellington Phoenix in the first round and then losing to Sydney FC in the second round. This seems to be going much like last season, where we have been knocked out very early on in the Australia Cup, a cup competition that we have won quite consistently over the last few seasons. We've been knocked out in the second round twice now. And I'm still not sure if we're in any form of continental competition. I feel like we might not be. There's probably a way of finding this out, but if we go rules, it just says, so whoever wins the league gets the Asian Champions League group stage, and then we go into the finals. And it doesn't say, or if it does, I don't know where it says what you actually managed to kind of qualify for. There's lots of words on here. I'm not going to read them all. So maybe for Season 9, we're not actually going to be in any form of continental competition. We're obviously going to have to go forward, find out whether that is the case. But I feel like Season 9, we might only be focusing on the league, particularly as we've obviously ballsed up the Australia Cup in round 2. So we've now moved forward to the 4th of January. The transfer window has swung wide open. We have negative £475,000 of a transfer budget, so I can't imagine a huge amount of business is going to be taking place throughout this window. We do have a massive wage budget, so possibly we can do some rearranging there. But I guess the bigger piece of news is we are not in any form of continental competition. By this point, normally in the season, we would have played a few Champions League games. I think we would have actually played the entire group, possibly, and we would know who would be playing in the knockout rounds, assuming we made it that far. But because we finished 4th place last season, we've qualified for absolutely nothing, which is a bit weird for me. I mean, obviously, when it comes to the league table, we are doing okay. We are top of the table by 1 point ahead of Sydney FC, 2 points clear of Melbourne City FC, but they do have themselves a game in hand. This is a 3-horse race already after just 10 or 11 games of the season. We've scored 30 goals, which is a lot, but we have also conceded 18, 6 of them against Wellington Phoenix. Was that in one match? No, it wasn't. Okay, so we conceded 4 there and 2 there in a 3-2 victory. So lots and lots of goals being conceded, which is it's not particularly promising, is it? I didn't mention this earlier on in the season, but we have actually released a player as well, Thomas Kennel, a player who came through our youth intakes a very long time ago. He was actually on the verges of being in the squad multiple times. He's been registered, but has never actually played a game for us, because if we didn't register him, he got released, and it got to a point last summer, where basically we just couldn't register him. We couldn't afford to lose any of the other players, so Kennel has left. He's moved on to Melbourne City FC, and he's actually playing first-team football for the first time in his, I assume, entire career. Oh, and one last thing to mention, Juan Martin Sancho has 7 offers on the table for him. Possibly £2 million are the numbers. Let's have a quick look to see what we might be going for, and it's Al-Shabaab, basically. He's probably off to Al-Shabaab in Saudi Arabia. So let's jump forward then to the end of the transfer window, see if Sancho does move over to the Middle East, which I feel like he probably will. And will we replace him? Maybe. He is going to basically bring in a nice chunk of money. We can get ourselves another non-Australian footballer as well. Well, on the 1st of February, a couple of things to talk about. First of all, Michael Stewart, his transfer fee has now increased to £1.2 million. It was initially 875,000 and now has gone up to 1.2. I don't really know how. Also, he's damaged his cruciate ligaments. I didn't mention this. He damaged his cruciate ligaments almost immediately when he joined the club. In fact, didn't play a league game, played a couple of Australia Cup matches, and then just got himself injured, which is kind of annoying. Juan Martin Sancho has also left the club as expected, but he has not gone to the team we were thinking he was going to go to. He's gone to Al Qadsiya. Also, going to assume in Saudi Arabia. Yes, he's gone for £2.8 million. So technically, we have made a loss. But we do have a 50% sell-on in there, so if he ever leaves Al Qadsiya for any form of transfer fee, we're getting half of it. He's worth £70 to £101 million at the moment, so if he goes for literally £70 million, that's £35 million to our club. He's never leaving, because he's on £69,000 a week, and I don't think anyone's willing to pay £70 million for him. I've just realised as well, he's at the same club as Calzagno, who has also got a 50% sell-on. How's he doing there? He's 132 appearances deep, 20 Australia caps. Good job, lad. And that was it. That was actually our entire transfer business. Selling Sancho is the only thing we have done. Competitions-wise, we are still top of the table, still just 1 point clear. It's now down to basically a 2-horse race between us and Sydney FC. Melbourne City kind of still in it, but might be slightly too far out of reach now. So we've only got one thing, technically 2 things to focus on, the regular season and the finals. If we don't win both of these, I feel like this has also been a terrible season, much like Season 8 was. Something that wasn't terrible, however, was our youth intake. We've actually got, 7 players who have come through
with quite high potentials, apparently. They've said it's an excellent intake. It's not a golden generation, but it's not far off a golden generation. Brody Bailey is first up. He's probably the worst of the players. He's only 16, possibly never really play for us. Johnny Bragg, next up, right winger, also not amazing. 3.5 star potential for Johnny Bragg. Lewis Bray as a striker. Current ability is 1.5 star. 3.5 star potential. Looks all right. I feel like the 12 finishing is doing quite a lot of heavy lifting physically as well. He's actually not too bad. We've got Abdurrahman Muste, might be his name, probably isn't his name. 16 years old, at winger, striker, attacking midfielder. I do, for some reason, quite like the look of him, and I don't know why. Because his technical numbers are bad, his mental numbers are alright, determination of 16 is good, teamwork 15, work rate 14, those are good numbers. Physically also not terrible, but technically he's actually pretty garbage. He is also part Guinean, wasn't expecting that. Next up we have Isaac Schumack, could be his name, 16 years old, left winger, striker, attacker midfielder, much like the last guy. Again, he's alright, isn't he? He's got some reasonable mental numbers, physically not amazing, technically not amazing, but actually probably better than the last guy. And you are, for some reason I was expecting you to be something else, like part Israeli or something, but no, just apparently you're just fully Australian. Now this guy's got to be part Greek or Cypriot, hasn't he? Dimitris Argriou. Definitely not how that's said at all, but that's what we're going to go with. 16 years old, can play in multiple weird positions. Right back, defence midfielder, right winger, right attacking mid, or right attacking midfielder, sure, we'll go with that, and a striker. He's got lots of average numbers, lots of 8s and 9s across the board for the technicals. Mental's not amazing, physical's also not amazing, but apparently 3.5 star potential. But the star of the show is something that I never thought we would get, and it is a goalkeeper, Lucas Morgan, 17 years old, value of 1.1 to 2 million pounds. He is, I'm going to say this now, and I don't know whether it's true, but he is a future Australian #1 goalkeeper, and he has come through our youth intake in season 9. You'll notice as well, he's already played twice, and that's because I've made the executive decision to lock him into the starting lineup for the final half of this season and most likely season 10. It does mean if we just click here, Lujbicic, who was playing in that role there, has been dropped. He's got better, hasn't he? He's now a natural defence midfielder, or not natural, but accomplished defence midfielder. He's okay. He did play 14 times, but didn't really do much else. But yes, Lucas Morgan will be our #1 goalkeeper until the end of this save. So Morgan, Szymanski, Shepherd, Norton and Draper will now be the players locked in for the final games of the season. The final games of the season, by the way, which there's not actually that many, is there? We're obviously going to we're going to hopefully get ourselves into the finals as well. We've been on an absolute ridiculous tear, haven't we? What is that? 9 wins in a row? So maybe we can keep that going and we should just walk away with this league. It's now the 24th of April and we didn't walk away with this league, and it is not through want of trying. Sydney FC kept up with us every single step of the way. 1 point was the difference. In fact, arguably it should have been more, shouldn't it? We drew the final game of the season. Sydney FC, what did they get up to in the last few matches? So they lost against us. That was the decider. Genuinely, that match there was the decider. We beat them 4-3. A winner from Andre Norton in the 76th minute means that we are crowned champions of the A-League once again. Obviously, this now moves us straight into the elimination matches, or the finals, or whatever it's called. Oh, I've just noticed as well, we've moved ahead of the Thai League. That is lovely. Up to 8th place in the competition ranking. I know we're going to look at the players once again at the end of the season, but I just want to point out Lucas Morgan once again. He's 23, or capped at under 23 levels now. 12 starts, 11 conceded, but 6 clean sheets. I feel like this is a wise decision. Might not be a wise decision, but I feel like it is. Partially because this is happening. Arsenio Versluis, our #1 goalkeeper for the final few seasons, he's agreed to leave the club. He actually agreed to leave the club back in January. He's moving over to AZ on a free transfer. I've been constantly trying to get him new contracts. He wasn't accepting them. He's a very good goalkeeper, but I'm hoping when we have a quick comparison with Lucas Morgan, they are nothing alike. I mean, they're alike, but Lucas Morgan's nowhere near as good as he. But there is time. Time is on Lucas Morgan's side. I've just realised he's only turned 17 on the 21st of January. He's literally 17 years old in 3 months. He's a literal baby. He was born in 2017. I mean, if this man was real, I say man, if this child was real, he would be, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. He'd be an 8-year-old goalkeeper now. Anyway, then, let's jump forward to the end of the season. Can we win ourselves the finals as well? And hopefully we can get back to winning ways, ready for season 10, where we'll be back in the Champions League, we'll be winning the Australian competitions, and we'll win absolutely everything in season 10. We get knocked out in the semi-finals. At the first match, once again, knockout competitions are not our friends, are they? So we lose to Central Coast Mariners. It was a 2-2 draw and then a 1-0 defeat, meaning that we don't win the whatever it's called. It's not. I can never remember what this is called. So the regular season and then the finals. We haven't won the finals. So we've won a lot. We've definitely won a lot, but we have not won the finals again. It's annoying, but I guess it doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. Arguably, I don't know anything about Australian football, but I'd argue winning the regular season is probably a bigger prize than winning the finals, because the finals is only competed between 6 teams. The regular season's a lot longer. There's a lot more matches. Definitely trying to convince myself that winning the regular season's way bigger deal than actually winning the finals. Might not be. So going through then the 5 players locked in, to begin with Lucas Morgan, as we know, was our number 1 goalkeeper. He only played 2 more matches and conceded 3 goals in those 2 games and didn't keep a clean sheet. So not really a big improvement there. Moving over to our left back, number 7, Jacek Szymanski, has not scored a goal at all season actually, which is a bit of a worry. Has only got 9 assists as well. Normally you'd expect a lot more assists. He got 6 last season, 8 this season in the regular matches. I mean, I would have hoped for more. I feel like maybe Szymanski might be kind of hamstringing us, but that 5-star potential is still there. So because it's still there, I feel like we need to keep him in for season 10. Whilst not in the starting 11 anymore, Nikola Lubicic, we should take a quick look at him as well. He has actually been demoted to the NPL side, which is like our B team, I guess, where he's not really playing at all. I feel bad for him. He's not a real man, but I feel bad. But I feel like putting in Morgan is a much wiser decision. Moving forward to the right winger then of Ben Shepherd, who now has 2 Australia caps to his name, which is good. He has got himself 8 goals and 6 assists. Not a big season, only 20 matches. He must have picked up a fairly sizable injury or a few injuries. So what season are we in? We're in this season here. So he picked up a bruised thigh and a twisted ankle. And the twisted ankles recently. How would he only play 20 matches? That seems weird. It seems weird that he's missed a lot of football. International duty will probably do it. And I'm assuming a similar situation for Andre Norton, who's now 18. He has 2 caps and 1 goal for the Australia national side. He's got 12 goals in all competitions, 6 assists. He's only played 23 league matches, 21 league, and then 2 in the finals. Obviously 2 as well in the Australia Cup. But he's done pretty good. I feel like he's 4.5-star current ability at 18. My worry is this is his peak. It's not a bad thing. He's certainly a good footballer, but I'm concerned that this is his peak and he's not going to get much better than this. Also, he's still on £30 a week. You need an agent, boy. Somebody else who needs an agent is Krios Draper, because now at 19 has 2 Australia caps as well. He's on £60 a week, so he's doubled his money, but it's still not a lot of money at all. He's very, very good, isn't he? 19 goals in all competitions, 5 assists as well. He is currently out with a pulled back muscle, which is ironic because I'm sat here with a bad back right now. I feel like Krios Draper is just rubbing it in. He's good. I feel like he could be our best player. When we sort by ability, Norton, Leonard, Draper, Versluis, all up there with 4-star or more. When you sort by potential, look at how many players we've got with 3.5 or 4.5-star or more potential. That's a lot of players. That is a lot of players that we've got there. Just quickly sorting by goals. So Shepherd, Norton and Draper we know about. And Lugo, Matthew Lee scored 4 goals. Matthew Lee, the Australian and part Korean guy, has played a few matches for some reason. Assists-wise, Charlie Bright probably playing as our right back, getting the most assists with 10. I feel like this season we have struggled with scoring goals. If we scroll back up, actually, we can see Sancho. How many did he get for us this season? 4 goals, 5 assists, so not even a big season from Sancho. I mean, I feel like that was our problem, was actually scoring goals, which is a ridiculous thing to say when we win matches 4-0, 5-0, 5-0, 4-3, 4-1. Maybe we don't need to score more goals. Maybe I'm expecting too much from this team. Well, that is going to do it for Season 9. We've got one more season to go with our Brisbane Roar side back in the Champions League for Season 10. Can we finally win it, or will we be forever the bridesmaid? Well, it's time for the final season of our Youth Development Challenge save with Brisbane Roar. Last season, we were crowned champions of the Isuzu A-League once again, but we did not win the finals, as we either win the league or the finals, but never seem to win both. We are back in the Asian Champions League, however, because we did win the league, but we also have been knocked out of the Australia Cup in the second round on the last 2 seasons, so I'd love to do a slightly better performance this time around. Can we win 4 trophies? Maybe. Probably not. Can we win 3?
Three's a possibility. I think three's a possibility. Probably not the Asian Champions League, let's be honest. What with it being a youth development challenge and being season 10, we need to lock in 5 players who have come through our youth intakes over the last few seasons. They all need to be under the age of 22, so 21 and under. And last season, this is what we finished with. We finished with Morgan, Szymanski, Shepherd, Norton and Draper. We're going to jump forward to the end of the initial transfer window to see, have we done any changes? We don't need to do any changes, but we could do them if we feel like we want to. Maybe Norton might drop out because we probably don't need to lock him in anymore because he's going to play anyway. What with this being a transfer window, we do have £2 million to spend. We have got a fairly sizable wage budget as well if we want to do it. Not too convinced we're going to do a huge amount, but I think we have ourselves a non-Australian slot in our squad. So we might look at trying to invest, bringing in somebody who can kind of fill in that gap. Somebody who's going to be expensive as well. Something I didn't mention actually in Season 9, which I feel like I probably should have done. Jack Mason, who was our first player that we actually locked in, who's now 26 years old, got released at the end of his contract. He moved over to Melbourne City FC, where he played 13 times last season, most of them coming off the bench. Didn't score a single goal. Scored 117 for us. Feel like Melbourne City aren't using him right. Anyway, we are going to jump forward to the end of the initial transfer window. Are we going to bring in somebody to our squad costing £2 million and probably on £40,000 a week? It's unlikely, but something might happen. First of all then, on the 14th of September, we've got some transfer business to talk about, and you can see 3 players leaving the club on permanent deals. Andrew Leonard, who came to us a few seasons ago on a free transfer, I believe. We played him a lot, but I think most of them were actually kind of off the bench. In fact, that season he started 27 games. Maybe I'm lying. For some reason, I thought he played a lot off the bench. But no, he has moved over to Al Nassr in the United Arab Emirates. Basically, we weren't going to compete for the wages there. Shelford Lugo has also moved on, signing for Perth Glory. I think he was out of contract. Again, we weren't really playing him the last few seasons, coming off the bench quite a lot, but not really starting. So he's made a new life for himself over in Perth. And as we mentioned in last season, Arsenio Versluis has moved back to his native Netherlands, signing for AZ Alkmaar after his contract expired, a contract that I desperately tried to renew, and he was having absolutely none of it. We have brought in one player, and it is Iago Corral, a 21-year-old Spanish defence midfielder and centre-back. He has been brought in to replace Leonard. Yes, he's not as good as perhaps we could have got. He's cost us absolutely nothing as well. But the problem we've had as a club like Brisbane Roar, and I'm imagining most other teams in the A-League, we don't have the reputation to be able to be bringing in really good footballers. Even if we've got the financial power, we've got the money to buy somebody for, let's say, £3 million, we can chuck £50,000 a week at them, and it won't actually affect our sort of wage budgets. No one's going to want to join us, basically. Nobody wants to join us, so it has meant we've kind of been stuck with players like Corral, who, again, he's not a terrible footballer. He's got some potential. He's 4-star current ability. He's definitely a good footballer, but he's not as good as perhaps we maybe needed. When it comes to the players that will be locked into the starting 11 for the season, it is the same 5 that were locked in at the end of last season, so we will quickly fly through them. Lucas Morgan, first up, our number 1 goalkeeper at 17 years of age, who is literally 17 years old in about 6 months or 9 months at this point. He's going to be our number 1, obviously, until the end of the save. We've got in left-back Jacek Szymanski, 9 under-20 caps now at 19 years old. He's improving. Is he improving as quickly as I'd like? Probably not. We do need to get some more goals and assists from Szymanski playing in that left-back position, because that's where a lot of our assists seem to come from, is the fullbacks, and Szymanski has been letting the side down the last few seasons. Ben Shepherd on the right-hand side in the wing position, 2 caps to his name for the Australia national side, had 2 very good seasons on the right wing. Hopefully he can make it a third. In fact, I think he's had 3 good seasons on the right wing. Hopefully he can make it a third. Alongside Shepherd is Andre Norton, 19 years old, now 4 caps and 1 goal to his name for the Australia national side. Has basically been ridiculously good since breaking into the starting 11. He actually played once before we locked him in, and then his average rating is a 7.38 and a 7.36 across the last 2 seasons. Andre Norton is probably our best ever player to come through our youth intakes, if you ask me. And I think a close second is probably Krios Draper, leading the line with 5 caps to his name now. 85 league appearances, 41 goals, 15 finishing. Should hopefully lead to a few more goals. Last season, I don't think was as impressive. I'm completely wrong there. I thought last season wasn't as good as the season before. Nope, he scored 18 and 23 last season, or the season before that, it was 14 and 30. So, Chris Draper has seen a bit of improvement. Maybe he can break 20 league goals this season. That would be absolutely magical. So that is the 5 players we are locking into our squad for Season 10. And it is a season where we are still in the Australia Cup, which is very good to see. We have beaten Bethania Rams 9-0. Bethania Rams, sure, we'll go with that as their name. And we've also beaten Moorland City 5-1. It means we set up a quarter-final match against Adelaide United. And then hopefully we will be playing against maybe Springfield United or Oakley Cannons in the semi-final to set up our final against Macarthur FC, which we'll win 6-0. If that happens now, I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's oddly specific, right? Obviously, we are back in the Champions League as well. We find ourselves in Group G with Buraham United from Thailand, Công An Hanoi from Vietnam, and Dalian Professional or DL Pro from China. I think we should be good enough to get ourselves through this group. Arguably, we should be finishing first, maybe second. Buraham United, very good. DL Pro are good. I'm not too sure about Hanoi, but I feel like they're probably going to be finishing bottom of the table. Anyway, then let's jump forward to the start of the next transfer window. The first part of the season will be done. The group stages of the Champions League will also be finished. We should be finishing top. First of all, in the Australia Cup, unfortunately, we did not win it. We lose to Melbourne City in the final, but we did beat Adelaide 4-1. We didn't go up against to play a Springfield United, I think, or Oakley Cannons. I've just seen Oakley Cannons beat Springfield United 8-5. No, we played Central Coast Mariners, a team that we then beat 6-1, and in the final we lose 3-2 against Melbourne City FC, which is frustrating. But we did get ourselves to a final, which is a massive, massive improvement on the previous 2 seasons, where we were absolutely garbage and got knocked out in the second round. As for the Asian Champions League, we have managed to qualify out of the groups. We are now going to be up against Yokohama F. Marinos in the second round. When we have a look, it's probably easier to just go straight to Group G. We did win the group with 6 wins to our name, a positive 20 goal difference as well, beating DL Pro 2-0, Buraham United 3-1, Hanoi 4-0, DL Pro once again 4-0, Hanoi once again 4-0, and Buraham United 5-1. So we conceded twice in 6 games, winning the group with 18 points, setting us up against Yokohama F. Marinos, a team that have knocked us out of the Asian Champions League in the past. I hope they don't do it again. And finally, before we delve into the transfer market, or hopefully delve into the transfer market, we have played 12 league games. We find ourselves sat right at the top of the table with 25 points, 8 wins, 1 draw against Perth, a 4-4 draw, and then 3 defeats against Newcastle Jets, Melbourne City FC, and Sydney FC. We're conceding a lot of goals. In fact, we are the 4th worst team when it comes to goals conceded. That's bad, but the fact that we've scored 31, I guess, kind of makes it slightly better. Obviously, when you look at our squad, where is he? Lucas Morgan is our number 1 goalkeeper. He's still not quite 18 years old yet. So the fact that he's conceded 13 in 9 league games, it's not great. Although he's only played 9, which means Lang Loi has played 4 matches. He's played 2 in the league. Also, Bassetto's played a Jason Champions League game and kept a clean sheet. He's absolutely garbage, by the way. Well, it is a transfer window. We've got 1.8 million to spend. We've got about £40,000, maybe, in our wage budget if we would like to spend that as well. So we're going to jump forward to the end of it somewhere early on in February, see how well things go. We won't have played the Yokohama F. Marinos games, but obviously we will have played a few more league games. It's the 7th of February, and yep, no transfers, no one in, no one out. I want to have a quick look at leaving the club on free transfer. So 2 players did actually leave back in September, so these basically didn't get qualified or registered in the squad. As you can see, neither of them were actually of any use because neither of them actually played for us. Sort of an underwhelming transfer window for a final season of a save, but we don't need to buy anyone, so why should we be buying anybody? When it comes to the matches then in the league, we've drawn 1 more game by the looks of it, a 1 more draw against Western United, but we've picked up a few more wins as well, putting us top of the table. 4 points clear of Macarthur, 5 points clear of Western Sydney Wanderers, and what is that, 7 points clear of Western United. So lots of teams actually in this fight at the moment. Has our goal difference improved? It certainly has. I've just seen, actually. We've conceded once. We've conceded 3. Sorry, not once. Conceded just 3 more goals in that time. So we're still not good, but we're getting better, I guess. I've just seen as well. So some players that I've not locked in. There's quite a few players scoring goals who have come through our youth intakes who I've not locked in. So Muster, might be his name, has played 21 appearances for us this season. 10 league, 4 Australia Cup, 6 Champions League, 9 goals, 5 assists. We've also got Anthony Hill, who's, I'm assuming, playing on the left-hand side, replacing Sancho once he's left. So he's got 9 starts, 9 assists as well to his name. Salama, where are you playing? You've got 5 starts, 10 off the bench. Where have you been playing? On the right wing? As a striker? Why are you playing as a striker? Is it because Draper's out on international duty? It is. Okay, so when Draper goes on international duty, which happens a few times, it means that we're probably going to be getting somebody like a Salama playing for us, which is fair enough. I've just seen there as well. Ben Shepherd scored 4 against Central Coast Mariners. Not that it really matters because it is the final season of the Youth Development Challenge, but we have had a reasonable youth intake. I'm going to fly through these players quickly. Pejovic, who is a 16-year-old right back, doesn't look particularly awful. Fraser Shields, who is a 16-year-old left and right back, who does look particularly awful. We have Pavo Tragulja, might be his name, who's a 16-year-old striker who might get good, maybe not. Not too convinced on that one. We've got Brody Bennett, who actually does look pretty good. I like Brody Bennett. Or if we were doing a few more seasons, maybe Brody Bennett would be replacing Andre Norton in a few years' time. We have Jean-Marc Badal, who is a 16-year-old centre-back. I like him. For some reason, I like him, and I don't know why. I don't think he's a good centre-back. I think maybe he might be a midfielder. If we did more seasons, I might make him a midfielder. We've got Bryce Harrison, who is a centre-back, who's rubbish. Why do my coaches think he could be good? We've got Johnny Sampson, who is a centre-back playing in midfield. He's a centre-back, right? He's got 12 tackling. He is 5'11", so we can't really do too much in the air. In fact, he's got 3 heading. He definitely needs to learn that. Johnny Sampson I think he might be good, but arguably probably not. And then top of the tree, Sam White, a Scotland under-21 international at 16 years old on that right wing. Looks good. I do like the look of Sam White. Is he part Australian? I assume so he is. He was born in Bridge of Don in Scotland, wherever that is. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, obviously, about these players because we're not going to be doing a season 11, but I've just starred them anyway because, if we go in the future. Speaking of the future, we are going to jump to the end of the regular season, see how well things go. Can we win the league? Can we also get ourselves to, I'm going to say probably the Champions League semi-final? I think it's probably where we'll get to. It will be nice to get that far. So back in the 2031-2032 season, we won the league with a record 65 points. This time around, we finished on 63, so very, very close to winning with another record. Just turning one of those defeats into a victory would have meant we finished on 66, and that would have been an actual record. But we have won the league. We've done very well. In fact, the last few games of the season, we have not conceded many goals at all. However, when it comes to the Asian Champions League, I feel like I've said this before in season, I'm going to say 8. The wise ones have seen, we've got knocked out by Yokohama F. Marinos. I'm pretty sure this season here, which is the same final. It's the literal same final. The same things happened. We win 3-0 as well, and then lose 5-0 away from home, meaning that we get knocked out by Yokohama in the second round. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. We did so good in season 6 and 7 or 5 and 6, getting to the final a couple of times, losing out ultimately to sides from the Middle East. But it's teams from Japan that seem to be doing us at the moment, and I don't know why. And they all get to the final. Every single time a team from South Korea or Japan gets to the final and then lose. I mean, the last time somebody who isn't from the Middle East have won was Kashima Antlers in 2028. We've got Seoul from South Korea in 2026. Esteghlal from Iran? It is Iran in 2024. Awara Red Diamonds in 2023. So mostly teams from the Middle East seem to win it, but the occasional non-Middle Eastern side does win. I guess Esteghlal is Middle East, isn't it? So technically they kind of fall under that, although I imagine they don't have the money that the Saudi Arabian sides have. Anyway, it does mean that we have got one more trophy to try and win this season, and that is the A-League Finals. I would love to win this once again, at least finishing the final season with a runners-up medal for the Australia Cup and 2 league trophies would be pretty good. Not amazing, but we'll take it. And up against MacArthur FC, then in the final, we do win 2-0 in the end. It was Abdulrahman Musta, still not quite sure how to say his name, with the opening goal. The fact that he's playing and I'm not controlling that is pretty impressive. And Owen Apap as well, somebody who we did have locked in for a fair few seasons, also on the score sheet. 39 caps for Malta, by the way. That's pretty impressive. So we have won the double in the final season. And I guess the only good thing that we can take from the Asian Champions League is we did get knocked out by the eventual winners, Yokohama F. Marinos, winning against Al Hilal in the final 3-2 after the 2 legs. But this is the state of our final season then, so winning the league, winning the finals, losing in the second round of the Champions League, and also being a runner-up in the Australia Cup. We should have won the treble, okay? A treble that we have actually won 3 times. So we've won trophies every single season. Apart from season 1, I don't think that technically we weren't there. That wasn't us. We took over for this season. So we took over. Technically, it was that season, but it wasn't. The season had already finished. So season 1, we won the league and the finals. Season 2, we won the league and the finals. Season 3, we won the league, the finals, and the Australia Cup. And once again in Season 4. Season 5, we just won the regular season. Season 6, we won the Australia Cup and the regular season. Season 7, we win the treble. Season 8, we win the finals. Season 9, we win the regular season. And Season 10, we win the regular season and the finals. We've won a lot of trophies with Brisbane Roar. That's ridiculous. The last thing we're going to do then before we wrap up this season is we're going to take a look at the 5 players who have been locked in, but also take a look at some of the other players as well. So Lucas Morgan, who is now 18 years old, has been our number 1 goalkeeper. He's not really improved, but he's only 18. He's literally got 20 years possibly of a career ahead of him, so he should get good. I've got no concerns about that one at all. We have Jacek Szymanski, who has been our left back for 3 seasons. He's still not really improving. I mean, he is, but he's not. He's not really doing the job. He's got 14 assists this season, which is his best year for assists. Just the 1 goal, unfortunately, to his name, though. Ben Shepherd on the right wing, 103 league appearances, now 2 Australia caps, 18 goals and 8 assists for the year. Andre Norton has had another ridiculous season, 20 goals, 19 assists, 31 appearances in all competitions. So he's missed a lot of football as well. I'm assuming because he's picked up 8 Australia caps, it's meant he's missed a lot of football because of those international games. But he's good. He's 19, 8 caps, 2 goals, 5 under 20 caps and 3 goals as well. I don't think he's really getting better. His finishing's going up, decisions going up, determination's got a nice big green arrow, but I feel like he's kind of been this good for the last couple of seasons. And the final player who we did have locked in was Krios Draper, now 25 caps for Australia, still no goals. In fact, I don't think he picked up any more caps this season, has he? He's good. He's on the downward turn by the looks of it. 29 goals this season, 7 assists. I said at the start of this season, can he get 20 goals this season? He can, but most of them seem to come in like the Champions League and the Cups. He got 18 the year before that. He got 19 in all competitions. The year before that, he got 31, but 16 of them came in the Asian Champions League. So Krios Draper has had another good season. He's not really doing it, though, in the league, is he? I've just sorted this by starred players as well. So these are players who are in my starting, like my first team, who are starred. So we've got Musta, who has played 26 matches, 11 goals and 6 assists. For a 17-year-old who I didn't lock in, he's our best left winger, which is ridiculous to me. We've also got Anthony Hill, who seems to be playing as a striker or a backup left winger by the looks of it. He's now out injured for 7 to 10 months, which is unfortunate. He's got 8 goals and 11 assists to his name. We've also got Charlie Bright, who is technically too old now, but he's still getting some game time. He's got a broken arm and he's out of contract. Probably would want to fix that if we were actually continuing this save. Giovanni Di Martino, 19 years old, Italian under-18 international. He's got a few appearances, 29 of them off the bench. 7 assists, though. It's actually pretty impressive. Jaden Rhodes, not playing a huge amount of football this time round. We've got Matthew Lee's got 16 subs appearances on that right wing, which is a lot of sub appearances. Owen Apap, 36 starts. We've also got, who is this here? We've got Willem Chand, who's from Fiji, who's played 14 matches off the subs bench. He's not very good, but for some reason keeps getting a lot of game time. And also, finally, at the bottom of the list, we have Youssef Salama, 19 years old, 4 under-20s caps, 2 goals. Probably playing as a backup striker for the most part, can also play on that right wing. So we're getting a lot of players through that are good enough to play for us now, which is quite nice to see. But I don't know what I'm going to say there. It's just nice to see, isn't it? It's just nice to see that we're doing quite well when it comes to bringing in these players. What I would have liked to have seen is this number here not be negative, okay? I would have liked to sell some of those players for nice big profits. We did sell some players if we have a look here. So we've got Cal Sagno, who we obviously sold. He would get a nice big profit if he eventually left Al Qadsiya. We've also got Jay Neve, who would make a bit of profit if he eventually left Shenhua. We've also got, as we know, Sancho, which technically he's not one of our players who we brought in, but I'd like to claim that we found him. We've got Emilio Lawrence, players here who've got some sell-ons in there, so if we actually do lose these players or move them on to different clubs, we'd make a fair amount of money from them. But that is going to do it then for our Youth Development Challenge. How well do you think it went in charge of Brisbane Roar? I think we brought in some very good players. We actually dragged some players up through the mud who potentially weren't good enough for us, but because we played them, they got a bit better than perhaps they arguably would have done if they never actually got the opportunity. But thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, do please remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you want to see what I'm going to be doing up next. And I'll catch you in the next one.